NBC Sports presents the National Football League. Today, it's the Denver Broncos versus the Seattle Seahawks.
This afternoon, we're at the Kingdome in Seattle for a crucial Western Division matchup. At the start of play today, the Denver Broncos had only a one-game lead over Kansas City and the Los Angeles Raiders, but the Raiders having their own way in Cincinnati, while Kansas City trying to come back against the Cleveland Browns, trailing by 5. So right now, Kansas City in danger of falling way behind the Denver Broncos, while the Raiders trying to stay within that one-game slim margin. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Joel Myers, alongside Dan Hampton, and welcome to the Kingdome in Seattle. The big question coming in for the Seattle Seahawks: will the ground game resurface? Will it even show up? Because it's been non-existent for the Seahawks over the last 2 games.
Well, that's true, Joel. The last 2 weeks, the Seahawks just flat haven't gotten it done running the football, and part of that is because they fell behind early and had to abandon that to try to throw the ball. But the bottom line is they just don't have a speed back, a guy that can spread a defense from sideline to sideline. And until they get that, they're going to have a hard time running it.
It's got to be extremely frustrating for the one they call Ground Chuck. Chuck Knox, the head coach of the Seattle Seahawks, he told me yesterday that in 29 years as a coach in this league, the last 19 as a head coach, this is the weakest ground game he has ever experienced. You can see over the last 2, only 58 yards, 23 against the Raiders last week on only 7 carries, but they fell behind so quickly. 24-7 to the LA Raiders. Their hand was forced in the second half. They had to throw the ball. They could not try to make that commitment to the ground game in the second half. Well, the speed back that Knox is lacking, Dan Reeves of the Denver Broncos has, and that is gas and green. Dan, he's once again on the turf in a controlled climate condition.
Well, last week we saw him explode against the Kansas City Chiefs on AstroTurf, and today it's going to even be scarier watching him.
Casey gets into it, and the line drive effort is bobbled by Alton Montgomery. A shaky start for the Broncos, but fortunately he corrals it and brings it out to the 20-yard line, where he's put down by the reserve running back, Chris Warren.
Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler bring you this NFL Game of the Month. Dr. Pepper is just what the doctor ordered.
So the 8-3 Denver Broncos start with the ball at their own 20. Coming off that emotional effort, that victory on the road at Kansas City, 24-20 last Sunday. As the Broncos are now 3-2 this year, away from Mile High Stadium. It is Gaston Green slithering his way through for 3 to the 23. This offense for the Broncos produced 24 points, actually 17. They got 7 from the defense with that Dimmery interception. Davidson, Kerr, Karts, Wydell, and the experience of Ken Lanier on the right side of the offensive line. Green, 133 yards last week with Perriman in the backfield. Young and Jackson are the wide receivers. The tight end is Clarence Cage.
Denver going with a 2 tight end set on first and second down here.
Second, a little more than 6. Gaston Green weaving his way, only a couple, to the 26-yard line. There was no doubt that you knew Denver, after a good ground game against Kansas City's defense, wanted to make that commitment early today. Green, Bryant, Kennedy, and Woods will force him up front in the 4-3 alignment. Wooden, Como, and Porter are the linebackers for Tom Catlin, the defensive coordinator for Seattle. Harper and Hunter are the cornerbacks, and Blackman and Robinson are the safeties. So now the first third down of the afternoon. Call it 3rd and 4 from the 26. And he's got trips to the wide side of the field. Elway's hit and fumbles, loose ball. It looks like Jacob Green's coming up with it. Big number 79 was at the bottom of the pile, scrambling after it, but it was Rufus Porter, the linebacker, who got to Elway.
Rufus Porter is their version of Derek Thomas, the guy that gave Denver so much of a problem last week in Kansas City.
And the 4th-year linebacker from Southern creates the turnover.
We'll see him up at the top working against Harvey Saylor, number 74. He turns the corner at about 7 yards. Incredible speed. Great play. Just exactly what the Seahawks need to try to get that offense on track. You'll see Rufus just turning the corner, and then that is what separates some of the great rushers from just some fair rushers. The guys that when they turn that corner, they come around and strip that ball from the quarterback. Instead of just making a good play, it's a game-breaking play.
Last week, the turnovers went the Denver Broncos' way as they had 4 interceptions of Steve DeBerg. Already, they have given up 1. And now it's 1st and 10 from the 20. John L. Williams pulls his way for about 4 to the 16. Put down by the outside linebacker. Second of the AFC in sacks, Mike Kroll. Offensive line, a huge one. Heck, Brills, Fiesel, Millard, and Ronnie Lee. They definitely had their problems last week, though, against the L.A. Raiders. Craig in the backfield with Jones and Williams. Blades and Kane the wideout, and Tice is the tight end. James Jones is the tailback today with John L. Williams the fullback. They've tried just about everybody at the tailback spot.
Well, they tried pretty much everyone on the roster at that tailback spot, but they still don't have a guy that can really turn the corner with speed.
2nd and 6 from the 16. Jones, not much. Michael Brooks there, but the first one making the hit was the cornerback, and that was Wyman Henderson. So no gain on the carry. It brings up 3rd and long. Carricker, his 2nd straight start after off with an injury for more than a year and a half. Cragen and Holmes also up front. Then Fletcher, Brooks, Mecklenburg, and Kroll. Did those linebackers ever have a phenomenal day last Sunday in Kansas City? Braxton and Henderson are the cornerbacks. And 2 of the best safeties in the AFC, Smith and Atwater. Key 3rd down early. Can they capitalize on the turnover? It's 3rd and 6 from the 16. Tough to find a better tandem in the AFC than Atwater and Smith.
Well, I don't think there is. And the thing they bring to the game, not only are they smart cover guys that they can go back and cover against the pass, they come up and attack on running plays. They play like linebackers.
4 wide receivers setting up for Craig out of the shotgun on 3rd and 6. Pocket holds up well. He's got a man in the corner of the end zone. Touchdown, Seattle and Tommy Kane. But there is a flag back in the offensive backfield.
Well, the reason was that he got great protection. It looks like they are going to call some holding. David Craig cannot believe it. He threw a picture-perfect pass out there to Kane, but looks like they will bring it back.
It would have been the 3rd touchdown reception of the season for Kane, but it's coming back. Let's check in with the referee, Stan Kemp.
Illegal hands to the face. Number 63 on the offense. Repeat that 3rd down.
Well, that's Ronnie Lee. Ronnie Lee just coming back last week, protecting here against Simon Fletcher, a guy that was all-world last week. Simon Fletcher, number 73, there at the top of your screen. Coming around, you can see Lee having his hand up into the face area of Simon Fletcher. Negates the touchdown throw.
So now 3rd and tack on 10. 3rd and 16 from the 26. As Chadwick goes in motion. It's Chadwick, the motion man, well short of the 1st down on the reception. And he's put down by the linebacker, Mike Kroll, just inside the 20.
You know, it's kind of tough on Craig here. Obviously, he's wanting to get off quickly and be able to throw the ball, and threw a great pass for the touchdown. But, you know, some of those offensive linemen, when you're dealing with a pass rusher of the magnitude of Simon Fletcher, you're going to try to get an understanding early. You're going to go ahead and attack that guy and let him know that he's just not going to have his way. And Ronnie Lee getting caught early, and it cost the Seahawks dearly for that.
The place kicker, John Casey, has hit 8 straight. He has not had an attempt, though, over the last 2 games. The last 2 he hit 3 weeks ago, 51 and 54-yard field goals. Should be almost like a chip shot, and it is. Plenty of distance on that one as it splits the uprights from 36 yards out, and Seattle does take advantage of the turnover with 3 points. It is cold and wet in Seattle this afternoon as we welcome you back. Week 13 of the NFL season. Joel Myers along with Dan Hampton. And a bit of a boost for the Denver defense, holding Casey to only 3 in the Seattle offense. And we'd like to welcome those of you who are joining us now, just finishing up that Kansas City-Cleveland matchup, the surprise win for the Cleveland Browns. Joel Myers along with Dan Hampton. It'll be Derek Russell from the 10-yard line. And he is wrapped up. Rusty Tillman's consistently done a great job, Dan, with the special teams here in Seattle. And once again, they're down very quickly on the coverage. A 3-0 Seattle lead on a 36-yard field goal after a turnover by Denver. The field goal for John Casey. A little less than 11 minutes left in the first quarter. And you can see those top two games, how much they mean to the AFC Western Division standings. The Raiders winning handily on the road at Cincinnati without Boomer Esiason in that game, while Kansas City loses, and Kansas City has dropped 2 straight, and they are slip-sliding away from the top of the pack in the AFC West. The Raiders at 8-4. Now Denver needs a win today to stay a game in front of the LA Raiders. Otherwise, they're tied with LA. And LA's got the tiebreakers. They have swept the Denver Broncos this season. Greg Lewis back home into Seattle. Played his college ball at the University of Washington. He gets 2, and that is all on his first carry of the day. Lewis, the 5'10", 215-pound rookie, a 5th-round draft choice. And while we have a chance, let's look at the rest of the early finals. Still going on, Pittsburgh trying to shock Houston. Well, there's already been one big shock today. You see it at the top of the screen. New England topping Buffalo in Foxborough. Dan, we did that game in Buffalo where New England stayed with the Bills every step of the way. Almost surprised them on the Bills' home field. Detroit hammering Minnesota on the road. And Washington also loses for the first time today. Gaston Green bobbled up coming out of the backfield. A yard, and that is it to the 20-yard line. Stuffed by Cortez Kennedy.
Well, the last 2 plays, Denver has tried to do something I don't think they're going to have much success at, and that is Crawford Kerr, the left guard, trying to block Cortez Kennedy, number 96 at the top of your screen right there. He just bulls him into the backfield and just kind of holds him there like a rag doll and says, well, okay, where's the running back? Oh, there he is. Throws Kerr out of the way, making the play for a loss. Now, I don't know how smart that is, trying to run at one of the strongest players in the NFL. You can see that down there below that 96. He's built like a tree trunk. You're not going to move him off the line.
3rd and 7 from the 20. Elway has time and has Mark Jackson for a first down and more across the 35 to the 36-yard line. Good protection that time for quarterback John Elway. He is working, of course, with a sore right shoulder. It's been documented earlier today. Cortisone shot on Monday. Did not practice on Wednesday. Had the day off on Tuesday. But, Dan, you talked about it earlier. What a benefit playing indoors for Elway.
Well, I think so. I mean, you look around the league today, these guys, other quarterbacks are having to throw with ice and snow and just frigid temperatures. Here, he's playing in optimum weather. I think it's going to be a great asset for John Elway throwing the ball today.
First down from the 36. Pocket collapsing. Nifty moves by Elway. And he slides ahead close to another first down. He gets 9 on that scramble to the 45-yard line. He never minds calling his own number, even in ad-lib situations.
Well, the thing is, he does give that dimension to an offense. He goes back, he's looking, he's reading. He sees Woods coming around the back door. Then he sees Kennedy breaking free from a block. Then he says, hey, if they're only going to rush 4 guys and not keep anyone in to more or less spy on me, I'll make first down after first down. And he's not shy about taking that ball and tucking it and going.
Who would have believed at this point of the season that the passing attack for the Denver Broncos would be 17th out of 28 in the NFL? But the ground game, 7th best overall in the league. They've got the confidence in Gaston Green, who takes it from Elway and gets the first down. He's got a little more than 5 on that carry to the midfield stripe. The new dimension to the Denver Broncos rushing attack, and that's why they're 7th overall now after the first 12 weeks of the season.
Well, what they're doing now, Joel, is they're more or less setting up the Seattle defense. Seattle playing with the 4-man front. It's different from a lot of the defenses they face each and every week with the 3-man line. What you have to do is more or less hammer away inside, and then later you can come back with the Gaston Green type back, a guy with great speed and cutting ability, and try to spread them and open up seams. So they're just more or less setting up the offense right now.
Green showed everybody a lot in that matchup with the Kansas City Chiefs last Sunday. 3rd best in the AFC on the ground. The pitch goes to number 28. And he busts it to the outside, breaking tackles. As they get him around the 43, Darren Como, the linebacker, finally catching up after the run of 7 yards. And patience by the running back, too, waiting for the blocking to develop.
Well, that's what you have to do as a running back, and that's one thing that a speed back has. You know, he's just more or less kind of floating out there. You'll see the Denver offensive line having a great year run blocking. You can see Carts, the center. He kind of slips outside there and helps load. There you see Perryman, number 33, going down, getting on a safety. They run the ball well because they block well up front.
So now 2nd and short. Second, a little more than 2. Gaston Green again. Can they stretch the defense? Green waits for the blocking and has the first down. Again, he waited for things to develop. He did not force the play, Dan.
Well, He's getting great blocking on the flank now. You'll see the big defensive lineman inside. See those offensive linemen? They're able to hook him now because the first 3 plays they ran right at him. Now, you'll see Green out on the corner there. He's getting a good block by Clarence K, number 88, on the outside linebacker. That's what you have to get around the corner, a tight end that can hook people and turn them inside and let that back slip around the corner.
Dan, would you say that's the biggest difference between these two teams, the outside speed that Denver has that Ground Chuck lacks?
Well, see, Green more or less started inside and held at the safeties, and then he had the speed to going outside the back door. That's what Seattle doesn't have. First down from the 35 of the Seahawks. Elway with plenty of time going for the bundle, looking for Derek Russell. Intercepted by the cornerback, Dwayne Harper. Unbelievable defensive cornerback play. Well, they did a great job on the ground. Once they went to the air, though, the turnover. And that is the second turnover after 2 drives today for Elway and the offense. Well, they didn't have any miscues last week, but already too early as they trail by 3.
NBC Sports coverage of the National Football League is brought to you by Acura Automobiles. Experience precision-crafted performance. By Coors Light, the Silver Bullet is the right beer now. By Starter, look for the stars and you'll find Starter. And by Tylenol, the pain reliever hospitals use most.
Another turnover for Elway and the offense, and Seattle gets it back.
Well, you'll see Dan throw a ball that doesn't really look like a John Elway pass. That's a wobbly ball. Now, he may be having a little bit more problem with that shoulder than maybe the Broncos want to let us know, but John Elway, that wasn't his type of football that he threw there.
So first down from the 3-yard line for the Seahawks. And now can the Denver defense create a turnover? Flags into the air. John L. Williams for a couple to the 5-yard line, put down by Warren Powers. But there is a penalty flag down.
Looks like motion against the Seahawk offense.
Well, it was only 2 yards. Well, they declined it. John Elway said last week we didn't have any turnovers. We won the game the week before. We turned it over 3 times, lost to the Raiders. And then when he started talking about close games, he goes, you know, I don't feel normal unless there's an ulcer growing inside me.
Illegal motion, number 30 on the offense. The penalty is declined. 2nd down.
So the turnover is the difference right now. Seattle with a 3-point lead. Those 3 points coming by way of that first turnover. Now they've got it 2nd and 8 at their own 5. They decline the penalty. Only a gain of 2 yards on first down for John L. Williams. Play action out of the end zone for Craig. As Williams. And Williams close to the first down. But another flag way back in the secondary. Right around the area where Charles Dimry was, the defensive back.
It could be defensive holding.
So plenty of mistakes early for the Denver Broncos.
Well, a lot of times when you have a big game like last week, which is a very, very emotional game for the Broncos, a lot of times you'll kind of go through the week kind of just in a daze, and you don't really focus until maybe the second half of this week's game. And so far, they just don't look on track.
Illegal contact, number 29 on the defense. 5 yards, automatic first down.
It is called on the big playmaker from last week, Dimry, who had a 26-yard interception return for a touchdown. They give the Broncos a 24-13 lead at the time over the Kansas City Chiefs. He's the guilty party on this play. Well, Dan Reeves told us turnovers and handling the crowd noise in the dome is going to be the difference. Already 2 turnovers and plenty of noise because this crowd's into the game early. So now an automatic first down at the 10-yard line for Seattle. John O. Williams. Nice moves to get 5. Mecklenburg almost got him, did turn it in. So when we come back, 2nd and 5 for Williams in the offense, but an update first with Bob Costas.
All right, Joel, no undefeated team in the National Football League this year. The legacy of those Dolphin teams of the early 70s still safe. Here's Michael Irvin catching the Steve Berline touchdown pass. Berline played most of the second half for the Cowboys because Troy Aikman was hurt. Cowboys beat the Redskins 24-21. Redskins are 11-1.
So now Washington 11-1. Dan, you surprised?
Well, no, not really, because we went to 12-0 at one point in the '85 season, and it's just hard to go the entire season without losing a game.
James Jones for a yard, and that is all of the 16. It'll bring up 3rd and 4. Seems like the Cowboys always give the Redskins a battle at RFK. As we update you on the rest of the finals, the early games, week number 13. The Raiders winning again and tightening things up in the AFC West. Another surprise, New England beating Buffalo at home. And Detroit winning on the road at Minnesota, getting ready for their Thanksgiving Day matchup.
Well, with 3rd and 4, they've gone to the spread offense. Obviously not having a lot of confidence in that run.
Out of the shotgun on 3rd and 4. It's Tommy Kane. He had the catch in the end zone. The touchdown was taken away because of the holding call. And he's got the first down on the reception.
We were talking to Tommy Kane yesterday, and he was talking to us. We said, hey, when you play Denver, what do you think about it? He says, well, I think about those 2 big safeties they have. And I said, well, are you kind of timid about running a crossing pattern or someplace, a pattern that would get you in there where you could take a shot from those guys? He says, hey, that doesn't bother me. And, you know, it surprised me, Joel. This is a guy that played hockey up until he was 15 years old, so you know he's no stranger to a hard knock.
He also said, when I put my helmet on, I also take a couple of Tylenol before I go up against Atwater and Smith.
You'll need more than maybe a couple.
Plenty of respect for the safeties. Craig on the deep drop. And it's intercepted. Intercepted by the quarterback. Was he touched? Braxton was not. Flag is down to the play, though. Back at the point of the interception. He takes it down to the 26.
Well, the flag possibly is because Braxton went over the back of the receiver prematurely before the ball got there. If that is not the call, then I'll be surprised.
He's upset. It looks like it's going to be taken away from Denver. No,
they're changing position.
Different units coming onto the field now. Tyrone Braxton in his 5th year from North Dakota State. Another one of those 12th round draft choices for the Denver Broncos. Carl Mecklenburg, don't forget, a 12th rounder way back.
Block, number 27 on the return team after the interception. 10 yards, first down.
Well, that was a terrific play by Braxton. Here we'll see Craig go back and opt for the deep out. He never takes his eyes off of that area of the field. The corner was able to make a great break on it. No, that's terrific football play there.
So Braxton,
and he was down.
He ties Atwater for the team lead, picking up his 4th interception. He had 6 a couple of years ago. Comes up with a big play for the Broncos. First quarter has been a problem offensively this year for the Denver Broncos, despite their 8-3 record, Dan.
Well, I guess a lot of defensive coordinators have gotten a pretty good feel of the offense, but Shanahan, the offensive coordinator for Denver, seems to be able to make the adjustments to go ahead and get them back on track after the first quarter.
After the mark off of the penalty, it's first down from the 47. The tight end is wide open. And it's Reggie Johnson, the rookie from Florida State, who they are very high on.
Well, he's kind of given Hunter a little piece of his mind about that cut tackle there. Those big guys don't like that. They like to run over those corners, and when those corners try to cut their legs out from under them, they give them a little bit of an opinion about it.
2nd round draft choice, an exceptional blocker coming out of college. The heir apparent, the 8-year man, Clarence Kay. 2nd at a yard now. From the Seattle 38. Gaston Green cutting it back nicely. He loves to take it deep in the backfield and read the blocking in front. He's got a first down outside of the 32. And our first Xerox Sports Packs of the afternoon. Based on opening day rosters, which college or university has produced the most current NFL players? And I know you're going to guess Milton College, Dave Craig's alma mater, but lighten up on it, Francis.
Milton.
First down from the 32. 2nd trade time on the 3rd possession of the day for the Broncos that they've taken it into Seattle territory. Gaston Green can't get to the outside. Darren Como knifing through. The linebacker coming up.
Well, when we talked to Dan Reeves about the Seahawks defense, he said this guy, Como, is playing great football. Number 53, the middle linebacker, you'll see him here. Just read this long trap play. He dodges the offensive tackle coming down to get him. He just floats to the outside, making a big play for the Seahawks defense.
Well, the big play was the order of the day for the Denver Broncos in their 4-point win over the Chiefs last week. Game on both sides of the line. Green with a 60-yard touchdown run. Elway hitting Jackson with a 29-yard touchdown pass, and Dimmery with the interception return. Delay doesn't fool anybody. Steve Sewell, the third down specialist, can't get it done on second down. And it'll be 3rd and long.
Well, Denver went with that package to make Seattle think they're throwing. Then they give the ball to Sewell on a delay here. Here you'll see 96 Kennedy. Just stay at home. Plug it up. Letting Robinson, number 41, clean up the tackle.
I asked Cortez the biggest difference over the last few weeks. He said, earlier in the year, I was one-on-one. Now, deep offensive lines are starting to take notice, and I'm doubled up constantly.
Well, you'll see the center, Karch, turn to him on the snap.
3rd and better than 10. Elway flushed out of the pocket, goes down. Porter, the big play. Second sack for Rufus.
Well, Porter watched film at all this week. You know he felt like he could be successful rushing the passer on long yardage. Here you'll see 97 turn the corner, going inside Harvey Salem. That is an all-world league move. And then he gets upfield and has the speed to run down Elway after Elway has an angle to get out of the pocket. Now, that's great athletic ability. If I'd have tried to move like that a long time ago, I'd have just fell down.
Ran into punted away. The wobbler over the head of Chris Warren. Can they get to it before it finds the end zone? It's batted up by Shannon Sharp. And it'll be down outside of the 1-yard line. Great special teams play by number 81, Shannon Sharp, to get downfield.
He's got to show up out in L.A. on the for that volleyball league. That is a great play by the Denver special teams.
I'd like to see him in a slam dunk contest with that vertical into the first, and Seattle leads it by 3. A sluggish start for both Denver and Seattle offensively. In fact, John Elway started that last drive at the Seattle 47, but it was 3 snaps and out as the defense came up big for the Seahawks. So
Seahawks series.
it remains a 3-0 Seattle lead. They start the second quarter. This is the second straight drive that Seattle has started inside of their own 3-yard line. It's time at the 2. John L. Williams, a little breathing room out to 5. He gets 3 on the carry. We just showed you our first question on the Xerox Sports Facts. Could you name the university that has produced the most current NFL players according to opening day rosters? Well, they lost yesterday. And it's been a tough year. That was their 6th straight loss. The Trojans of USC losing to the UCLA Bruins, but they've got 37 opening day rosters. 37 players in the league. Some great offensive linemen coming out of USC.
Yeah, and some great recruiters, too. Some car dealers, maybe.
That's Dan Hampton. I'm Joel Myers at 2nd and 7 from the 5. Catch is coming. Wide open is John L. Williams. The first down across the 20 to the 22. So the Broncos gambled, Dan, and Craig burned them.
Well, that's one thing David Craig brings to this offense. A very experienced quarterback that can side adjust on blitzes. Fletcher's coming. They're bringing Kroll from the other side. He says, hey, fine, I'll get out on my back, John L., and let him make a first down for us. And John L. Williams, he hasn't had the type of year running the ball that you would normally think that he would have. But he's just happy. He just wants to help the offense, and he says, hey, if I can catch the ball 5, 7, 8, 10 times a game, it doesn't matter if I have to, if I don't get the ball on the running game. Great football player there.
8th in receptions, 4th in total yards from scrimmage in the AFC. He's the total package. Play action for Craig with pressure coming. Gets it away in time, and he's wide of the intended target, Tommy Kane.
Craig feeling a little bit of pressure around the back door. Had to rush that pass just a little bit. Never really set his feet.
Opportunity to check in on the Dr. Pepper 10-minute ticker. And as you look at those scores, we remind you that this is only the 6th start of the season, Dan, for Dave Craig. It's been a nice stretch, though. He's hit better than 73% of his passes over his first 5 games this year. He was injured, you might remember, with a fractured thumb week number 1. John Beckett, the offensive coordinator, said yesterday just wishes everybody was playing up to the level of Dave Craig and they wouldn't have any problems.
Well, if they don't get a ground game going to take some pressure off, he may have to be going back in to put more metal in some part of his body because he's going to take a beating.
Second down from the 22. Jones turns it in. The cornerback Braxton making the stop. Only a couple of yards on the carry to the 24.
Well, Ronnie Lee did a pretty good job as the right tackle. Number 63, you'll see him working against Carricker here. Now, 92 is Carricker. Carricker turns to the inside, then Ronnie says, hey, come here. Don't go out there. The ball's supposed to be inside behind me. That's a pretty good job, just getting in there and just trying to maul on those defensive linemen and trying to create a scene.
Denver Broncos and the Seattle Seahawks, the top two teams in the AFC at stopping the opposition on third down. Seattle best, second best Denver, and now it's 3rd and 7. Craig has the pocket hold up. Now the pressure comes. Going downfield, Charles Williams is overthrown. Got away from the safety, Dennis Smith, but great coverage downfield because Craig had so much time back there, Dan.
Well, right guard Brian Millard does a good job getting out and kicking Mike Kroll out at the last second, giving Craig a chance to get out and make something happen. We'll try to look from the left of your screen here. Well, where he is, there he is right there. Dave Craig trying to throw the ball. He says, no, I don't want that. Then trying to get out. Well, the offensive line is doing a pretty decent job of protecting up the middle on Craig. It's the outside pressure that's bothered him so far, and that's what Denver does really well with those outside linebackers.
Rick Tootin ready to punt it away from his own 10. Vance Johnson waiting back for Denver. Tootin sends out a beauty, turns it over. Johnson from the 23. And across the 30, he's put down by Jones, the running back, at the 31. That's where Denver will have it, trailing by 3 when we come back to the Kingdome. A tight affair so far at the Kingdome in Seattle. Welcome back once again. Joel Myers along with Dan Hampton. When you were with the Bears, but it was only natural for the Bears to possibly worry about a letdown after a very emotional win like Denver's over Kansas City last Sunday.
Well, I think so, and that's one thing a football player has to do. He has to get himself up each and every week, whether it's a big game or a small game. But the thing I can't figure out is Seattle. I mean, this is a very crucial game for them, and even after getting wrecked last week, they don't have fired up yet.
Gaskin Green taking it deep in the backfield for only about 1.5 yards. Up to the 33, big number 97 again, and on that stop. We called his name and number frequently. Rufus Porter. He's already got a couple of sacks as well.
Well, he's not having a problem getting excited to play the Denver Broncos. You'll see him just winding down from the outside there. Green trying to go ahead and fall up inside there and see what kind of a seam he could hit. But Porter, with his great speed on this turf, no match for him.
A reminder, at the conclusion of today's game, we'll be presenting the Avis We Try Harder Award. It'll be given to the game's MVP. Elway, inside give to Steve Sewell. Not much available. Across the 35 to the 36 on 2nd and 9. He gets 3, and that is it. Put down by Terry Wooden, the left side linebacker in his second year from Syracuse. Well, the turnovers, they've already hurt Dan Reeves. That's how Seattle got their first 3 points. The noise factor we talked about yesterday in our meeting with the Broncos head coach, not really coming into play all that much. Very quiet crowd, and I think that's because both teams are sluggish offensively early.
Well, we talked to some of the Seahawks guys yesterday, Joel, and they kept bringing up the word confidence. And I think the crowd is still waiting to see what's going to happen, which team is going to show up.
Elway guns it, and Derek Russell makes the man miss. Nice run after the catch. Derek Russell over the first 5 games didn't have a reception. He's turned into quite a story, though, over the last 6. 12 catches and an 18-yard average, Dan.
Not only that, but besides the fact that he can run, he's a smart kid, he's really caught on and is going to be used an awful lot more, Dan Reeves told us. But the thing is, he is a big, strong guy. I mean, he's not scared of taking on, some of those patterns inside where the safeties can work you over. As like I said, he's 195 pounds, and he still runs like a 170-pound receiver that you'd see making those type of moves.
And those comments by you have nothing to do with the fact that he's from Arkansas.
A classy guy, too, Joel. A classy guy.
First down in Seattle territory. The delay. Perriman gets his first carry of the day. A very successful one inside the 45, close to the 42. Robert Perriman, the Plan B signing from the New England Patriots in his 6th year from Michigan. He was a 3rd-round pick for the Patriots back in '87. They like what he lends for Gaskin Green. We've already seen a couple of nice runs by Green, where Perriman also went through the hole cleanly and provided a block.
That's the thing about Perriman. He brings like an extra tight end in there. He's not as big, but he's such an efficient blocker. They can run against any defensive front and know that he can get a good a good block on any kind of defensive man.
2nd, 5. And did they ever penetrate on the defensive front? Those Seattle Seahawks making the big play against the run once again. Only a yard and a half down to the 41.
Well, like I said earlier in the broadcast, you'll see Cortez swimming upfield, but basically they're going to have a hard time running against that front four of Seattle. They're very big, they're very strong, and you're not going to be able to knock them off the line inside. You've got to more or less try to crack inside and keep them honest, and then use that speed to get outside.
Cortez Kennedy at 6'3", 300 pounds. 3rd and 3. There's the noise factor, and there goes Elway losing the ball again. I believe Seattle gets it.
Well, it looks like the official's calling Elway down. That looks like a clear fumble to me, Joe.
Yes. The referee, Stan Kemp, though, you're right, was pointing like I've got him down here before the fumble.
Well, he may be calling the in the grass rule, but I just think that looked like a fumble all the way to me. And you'll see Denver, they've rushed their punting team out to try to make sure that they don't bring the replay into play. You'll see Elway here, feeling the pressure, just trying to get up and get away. That's fumble. That's fumble. I cannot believe that.
But now, let's look at the bottom of the pile. Does it look like Porter came up with it as it's punted away by Mike Duran? Warren calling for the fair catch. Montgomery get a piece of it. Didn't need to. It took a left turn out of bounds at the 5-yard line. So Denver having their problems offensively, but definitely winning the war of field position as they continue to trail by 3. Jacob Green almost created another turnover, Dan. John Elway.
Well, Elway trying to get up out of the pocket there. Green strips the ball. Now you see 97 Rufus Porter come and dive into the pile. Now it looks like he's got it there. Well, there's nothing wrong with John Elway's shoulder because he ripped the ball away from Rufus Porter, who's a big, strong guy.
And again, Seattle starting back at their own 5-yard line. So their last 3 drives starting with 2, the 3, and their own 5 as John L. Williams can't bounce it outside. Montgomery came up in the run support, but Kroll was there early. The rookie outside linebacker, their first-round draft choice from Nebraska. And again, Chuck grounded already this afternoon. Tough to turn Williams to the outside, and they don't have the speed back. They have Derek Lavelle, but we have not seen him in the backfield as we look at the Dr. Pepper 10-minute ticker. They don't have the home run threat that the Denver Broncos possess now with Gaston Green and Bobby Humphrey, who's again inactive today.
Well, I just think that for Seattle to be an effective offense in the future, they've got to go out and get a guy that can turn the corner. That's just that simple.
2nd and 10. They're inside their own 5. The Seahawks deep in their own territory, still lead it by 3. Coming from Atwater, and Craig knew it. Just threw it over the head of Williams. Very heads-up play.
But we're talking about, how Denver went out and got a guy like Gaston Green, a guy that they, has been a great surprise, maybe one of the great stories. And as you see Craig here, Atwater coming on a safety blitz. He says, hey, I'm not going to take a sack and not take it a minus. We're just going to line up and play again next down. But what I'm trying to allude to is, you look at Denver, they're getting an awful lot of help from rookies, young guys. They went out and got some Plan B guys over the last couple of years. Seattle, they just have the same faces they've had the last year or two. And they just have to get with the times and go out and start getting some of these players that are available.
So it brings up 3rd and 10 in the Seahawks 5. Pressure from Kroll. Craig's hit. Is it a fumble or a pass? They call it a pass. Barely got it away. So much pressure again on Dave Craig, and it all goes back when we'll talk about that in a second, but that pressure came from Kroll again.
Well, Mike Kroll coming, blitzing from the outside. Millard's a little late getting there, but hey, look at those other 2 guys. That's Mecklenburg. He's one of the best pass rushers in the AFC. You got Simon Fletcher coming in there. I mean, they've got 3 or 4 guys that can really rush the passer, so you just can't say it's Kroll making it happen. I mean, they've got a front 4 that can put instant heat on you.
So the defense does the job. Keeps the Seahawks pinned back at their own 5, where Tootin will have to punt it in his own end zone. Last punt was 51 yards. Vance Johnson calling for the fair catch. Will stay away from it, and it takes a big-time Denver Bronco hop. So when we return to the Kingdome for the 2nd straight possession, or make that the 2nd time over the last 3, the Broncos start with it, Seattle territory.
NBC Sports coverage of the National Football League is brought to you by Pontiac and your local Pontiac dealer. We build excitement. By John Newbean and Company. Quality tax-free investment since 1898. By Miller Lite. It's it, and that's that. And by Hewlett-Packard. Keep those ideas coming, and we'll keep making them look their best.
Welcome back to the Kingdom in Seattle. Chuck Knox was telling us yesterday, he said, I've got some guys on defense that have been around a long time, and I want to keep them as fresh as possible. Well, that goes back to the ground game, and he said, you'd better believe I want that commitment and that ground game going to keep that defense off the field. Well, they're back on there now. And it's up field position. 1st and 10 from the 31. Elway has the pocket hold up. Now he's flushed out. Will he go down? No. Maintains his balance. Throws it up for grabs and throws it away. Gaston Green in the neighborhood, but he's an amazing athlete to get away from that.
Instead of it being 2nd and 20, it's going to be 2nd and 10. And it's all because of John Elway. Jacob Green getting up the field on Lanier, working at the top of your picture, number 79, turning the corner. Jacob's still playing super football. I bet he wished he had another shot at that, but Elway able to get out and just unload the ball. Cortez getting there at the end saying, hey, man, I know you got a bad shoulder, but don't be getting away from my man's sack like that.
Jacob Green in his 12th year from Texas A&M. He's found the fountain of youth, and that fountain of youth is named Kennedy. Cortez Kennedy. He's taking a lot of pressure off Jacob Green and the others up front. 2nd and 10 from the 31. Elway with time has it batted, and it goes to Shannon Sharp for a short gain to the 29.
Well, Cortez Kennedy, I was watching that time. He was on the center. Carts. He clubs him off. Then Crawford Kerr, the left guard, comes in and doubles him there late. You'll see him, 96 right here. He swats 72, Carts off. And then he comes back off. Then Kerr gets him. Then he still gets his hand up. Now, that is what you call a defensive lineman dominating inside. He takes up 2 blockers and still negates the offensive pass play. I don't know if I've seen a better defensive tackle play this year than this guy right here, number 96, Cortez Kennedy.
Well, he's not working with that knee brace. He told us yesterday he's playing without the left knee brace for the first time in 4 weeks.
But he's the guy that needs rest. You can't leave him out there all day.
3rd and 7, Elway pressured out. And over it throws a wide open Shannon Sharp. Just had it fly on him. He can't believe it. It was an automatic first down.
You know, some of those little plays, when he goofs some of those little plays, it's like you can't believe it. But John Elway is one of the reasons why Denver is leading the FC West. I mean, he's one of the big 1 or 2.
David Treadwell has had his problems recently with blocked kicks. He has 7 misses, and 7 of those missed field goal attempts. 4 of them have been blocked. From 47 yards out, it sails wide left.
That one was almost blocked too. It was low.
That would have matched his long for the year of 47 yards. But instead, it is still a shutout for the Seattle Seahawks as Treadwell and the Broncos come up empty. And oh, does it hurt when you consider they started with the ball at the Seattle 31-yard line. It's part of your Thanksgiving Day festivities. On Thursday, it all starts with NFL Live at 3:30, and then the matchup between 2 teams that won today, the Steelers and the Dallas Cowboys.
Well, number 20, Derek Lavelle's in a tailback. See if he can go ahead and try to get outside.
2nd year from Oregon. He does get outside into the secondary. There he goes. Henderson's got him. Well, there's the breakaway threat they've been searching for.
That's exactly what the doctor ordered for that Seahawk offense. Now, what that does is slow down those safeties from coming up inside. Then you can start running isolated patterns. Here, Craig running, just going back, stretching the defense. You can see Kroll, Dennis Smith up there inside thinking it's going to be pounded up inside. Well, they go outside and they overcommit. He breaks it back inside. Smart move by Chuck Knox.
So 22 yards on the carry. He was undrafted out of college. Out of the University of Oregon and made the team as a free agent last year. John L. Williams, they string the play out. Now he's going to bring it back the other way and starts to get blocked. He's got a wall of blockers. Craig applying a block. Williams inside the 10.
Oh, gosh.
You got to love those quarterbacks to get downfield and throw blocks.
Hey, this guy's running around with some sheet metal in his hand. He's down there trying to take on Michael Brooks, the headhunter linebacker. You'll see Craig turning and protecting the back door. Williams says, hey, I can't get outside on this bunch. It comes back. Now watch 17 Craig here, leading the way. He picks out the meanest guy he can find, Brooks, and watch what Brooks does to him. Just wrecks him.
Nice block as well by the wide receiver, Brian Blades. And finally, Henderson gets him, but not before Williams cuts it back. And Goes back against the grain all the way to the 7-yard line. Derek Lavelle trying to turn the corner. He's going to be losing yardage. A yard loss at the 8.
Dennis Smith making a great play. Down close to the goal line, those safeties will walk up on the line of scrimmage and contain. They contain so well because they're big and strong and able to take on those tight ends and pulling guards and not give a lot of ground. They keep it inside with that very quick interior of the defense for Denver can pursue and tackle.
Only 23 yards on the ground for the Seahawks last week against the Raiders, 35 the week before. They got 42 on that last carry by John L. Williams before the run by Derek Lavelle on 1st and goal. And those 42 yards on the carry, the longest run this year for the Seattle Seahawks. 2nd and goal from the 8. Take good time. Flares it out for Jones. The defense is in. He dives to the 5, and they give his forward progress to the 4 as he goes out of bounds.
Well, that's a good call. Just going ahead and flooding the end zone with your receivers and then sneaking out Jones out of the backfield into the flat and letting him wheel and see if he can make something happen in a one-on-one situation. Here he makes some good yardage down where it gets very tough against this Denver defense.
And now it's going to be 3rd and goal, just inside the 5-yard line. On goal to go this year, the Seahawks have hit 10 of 13 times. 7 of those 10 have been touchdowns. They capitalized at that big run by John L. Williams to set it all up.
They got to throw the fade here. They got the safeties both inside.
Craig in trouble. Has a man. Touchdown, Seattle! Started back at the 29. Lavelle reeled off 22 yards on one run, then 42 for John L. Williams.
Well, he'll come from the left of our screen here. Craig trying to get it on the fade, sees that's covered, waiting for Chadwick to go ahead and run a crosser late in the back of the end zone. Patience by David Craig.
John Casey, the rookie from Georgia, in for the point after. And all of a sudden, this crowd, a sold-out house at the Kingdome in Seattle, alive once again. A 10-point Seahawks lead. The Seattle Seahawks against Dan Reeves and his defense. The 42-yard run by John L. Williams. But Dan Reeves knows all about problems at the Seattle Kingdome. He has one game over the 500 mark when it comes to his matchups with the Seahawks, but he's only won 3 times in his previous 10 games at the Kingdome. So one of the first things out of his mouth was, we've got to control the crowd. The noise factor, he knows all about it here in Seattle.
You control the crowd by taking him out of the game by scoring early. They haven't done it.
Alton Montgomery taking the kickoff from the 10. And Montgomery with a return across the 25 to the 26. So a 10-0 lead for the Seahawks. The Broncos lose today. They're back in a tie for the lead in the AFC Western Division, not with the Kansas City Chiefs, with the LA Raiders, who have already beaten Cincinnati. LA now at 8-4, and in the tie-breaking formula, head-to-head competition, they have swept the Denver Broncos already this year, winning at LA, and then that 17-16 game just a couple of weeks ago at Mile High Stadium.
Well, even though they do have an easy schedule from here on in, they need this game if they want to go ahead and lock it up.
First down from the 26. Sharp in motion. The pitch in that direction for Gaston Green. Jacob Green has him. Loss of 1 on the carry at the 25.
You know, Jacob Green never ceases to amaze me. He made the Pro Bowl way back in '86 and '87, and I've watched him over the years. I think he's still playing up to that same level. Here he's winding down from the top of the screen. He's unblocked. But they think, the offensive structure is, hey, we don't think this guy can make the tackle on the other side of the field. He's not fast enough. Well, au contraire, Jacob's still able to smoke it.
Greg Lewis, the only back in the set. He gets it on the quick flare. And Lewis is going in the wrong direction after they hit by Darren Como.
We talked about Como. He's making hits inside, outside, and knocking people around. That's what you want from a middle linebacker in a 4-3 defense. I had a great one in Mike Singletary, play behind me for years and years. Well, Como knows when he's got those big guys in front of him, his job is to enforce out there. Jacob Green on a good pass rush there. Then you'll see Lewis here. Oh, Mr. Como, and that's not Perry.
Aaron Como, in his 10th year from Arizona State, playing the injured Dave Wyman this year. Porter was trying to get to the quarterback. Elway has all day, and it's intercepted by the defensive back. Blackman, the safety, has it. Second pick of the day of a John Elway pass.
Well, all I can say is Elway is trying to force the thing because of the pressure. I mean, it's simple football. If you pressure anyone, they're going to make mistakes. Now look at Harvey Salem tackling.
That's not a hold, is it?
No, that's not holding. And I'm watching the official. He's looking at it and lets it go. Elway just saying, hey, I got to get rid of this ball. I'm going to get knocked out. Throws it back late and deep in the middle is not a good combination. You never want to throw deep and late, because there's always going to be somebody gravitated back to that middle to pick it off.
Not a good idea.
No, that's not a good combination. Late and deep. Shouldn't do it.
2 passes intercepted. And the fumble recovery as well. 3 turnovers already. Craig in trouble. And he is belted. Powers slicing through. And that sack will take us to the 2-minute warning, as it's a loss of 5 yards on the sack of Dave Craig. But the Seahawks are up by 10 on the Broncos. 10-minute ticker from the Kingdome in Seattle. New York Jets in a must-win situation. And the Philadelphia Eagles give McMahon off to a hot start today. Same cannot be said for Phoenix and Stan Gelbaugh. Joel Myers, Dan Hampton in Seattle. And don't forget, back in New York, Bob, Bill, and O.J. The Domino's Pizza NFL Live halftime report coming up. Minute 59 left in the first half. Seattle operating from the 45 of Denver with a 10-point lead at 2nd and 15 now. Pressure trying to get into the backfield. Craig eludes the pressure over the middle. He's got a reception, and I believe it's Tommy Kane. Yes. Real close to that first down, right at the marker.
Well, David Craig has been extremely effective this year when he's played. I'm sure he qualifies for the quarterback rating now. He'll be way over 100 at this point. You'll see him here. He feels the pressure from both sides there. Mecklenburg and then Fletcher. He just dances to the outside, spotting Kane for a great gain almost to the first down marker.
Now, when you're talking about Kane, it's a shot and a goal. Former hockey player who decided to move to football during his senior season in high school. Other than that, it was hockey and basketball for the wide receiver.
This Christmas, Tandy Computer, some of the best.
Hughes Orangeman in his 4th season told us yesterday he was so antsy waiting for basketball to get started during the senior season in high school. He decided, okay, I'll try football. I think it's paid off.
Part of the reason he's having a great year is Brian Blades on the other side has taken a lot of double teams, opening up Kane deep in the middle.
3rd, less than a yard. Fenner over the top. Fenner used to be the featured back here. That's no longer the case, though. They've looked at everyone else, all different directions. And they do have the first down to the 30-yard line with big number 44 getting the vertical leap. Last year, Derek Fenner had better than 800 yards on the ground, but it's in a different situation this year for Fenner and Chuck Knox in his ground game. It's down at the Denver Broncos 30-yard line, but they do only have 1 timeout left now after stopping the clock after that first down pickup by Fenner. Denver still with 3 remaining. And the Broncos trail by 10.
Well, they made a switch at right tackle. Hitchcock is in for Ronnie Lee. Maybe that Simon Fletcher's given Ronnie a little bit too much of a problem on that corner.
4 wide receivers in this set. Dave Craig. Out of the shotgun, the pressure comes, and he's on his way down as he fumbles the ball. It's picked up by the Broncos. The defensive back comes up with it, and he loses it, and Braxton lost it. He was hit, and now it goes back to Chadwick and Seattle, and they'll have another first down on the change of possession. Braxton was really popped after picking up the ball and trying to run with it. Kenny Walker created the fumble.
Well, Millard hit him right in the back. Now, that's where you can crack ribs. Now, that football is important, but when you have a guy like Millard, 300 pounds coming in like a projectile, it's kind of hard to hold on to it. Now we'll see Craig back here feeling a little heat, trying to get up inside. Fletcher working on Hitchcock, jumps up, blocks his view. Then here's the strip from Holmes. Now watch. You'll see from the right of your screen there, Millard just, looked like that Mercedes-Benz commercial where they crashed that car into the wall.
Well, he's got Chadwick trying to take it away, and then Millard. And Millard goes at just about 290 pounds, 6'5". You feel it.
And he's from Texas. He's not shy about coming after you.
Pro Bowler back in '88. His first season as a starter. He's been in the starting lineup ever since. So now it's another first down. Change of possession. Clock stops. With 61 seconds left.
Well, I think
a break for the Seahawks.
Oh, without a doubt. Although the Seahawks are able to make some things happen on offense, but Denver has been playing great pass defense. They've been rushing the passer great. It's just that Craig, through sleight of hand, is able to make a few plays that has converted into some points.
First down from the 28 of the Broncos. Craig into the end zone as Lewis Clark. He's out of the end zone.
Well, Joel, I'd like to look at that again because it looked like he had that thing in before he did his little patter at the end of the end zone.
Did he have possession?
We'll look. One. Oh, my God. That is a great call by the official. Hats off, because he made the right call.
Second foot on its way out of bounds.
Well, the pylon is in the end zone, but his foot went beyond that pylon, bending it over. It's just foam
and
rubber.
now it is going to be reviewed.
Well, everyone at home can take a look at it. It's a great throw, great catch, just about 2 inches too far with his right foot there. That white paint is out of bounds.
You're right, though. When you bring up that point, the pylon is part of the field of play.
It is. The pylon is in the field of play, but his toe went beyond it.
Exactly.
If he were to, well, it's hard to say, you know, how he could have got his foot down any quicker. I mean, it's physically impossible, but it was a near miss on a great play.
After further review, the play stands as called.
It was a great call by the officials, no doubt. From here, obviously, from some 70 yards away, it looked good, but when you get that camera on you, it doesn't lie.
55 seconds left in the first half. 2nd and 10 from the 28. Set it up for John L. Williams. No blocking out in front, though. And now will Seattle stop the clock for the final time? No. It continues to roll. And now they do use that final timeout with 44 seconds left in the first 30 minutes of play. Play once, and that's the difference right now. Because early in the contest, Denver enjoyed the field position advantage. Seattle started 3 straight drives inside their own 5-yard line. But the offense has not been able to do a thing for the Denver Broncos. And to further illustrate that, one drive, they started at the Seattle 31-yard line, couldn't pick up a first down, and finally, David Treadwell missed a 47-yard field goal attempt. Frustration for Dan Reeves and the offensive unit.
Well, I just think Seattle is very efficient at this stage of the game. Late in the halves, whether it's first or second half, a guy like Craig, he knows how to operate that offense and get some shots into the end zone, and if he can't, he'll get the offense in position to kick a field goal.
Well, they're just outside of the red zone, looking to the 3rd. And just about 6. Don't forget, they've got a place kicker, Casey, who's got one of the best percentages in the NFL outside of the 40-yard line. Craig scrambling, looking for Blades, and overshoots his receiver.
You know, you always hear about, well, this is an experienced quarterback, and this guy's a veteran. Well, this is where you need experience as a quarterback. Craig knows his offense is in position to score. The main thing he has to do is if he can't make a plus play, don't have a minus play. Gets out, trying to make something happen, says, hey, I'll just throw it away, line up, and try it again. Obviously, David's upset about that, but I just think, you know, Denver's a pretty decent defense when you get down close to this goal line. If you can't make something good happen, just make sure something bad doesn't happen. They've got a chip shot field goal here.
It's going to be a 42-yard try for John Casey. He's at 5 of his last 6 from the 40 and beyond. And he is perfect again. He's 2 for 2 today, and that makes it 10 straight now for the place kicker for the Seattle Seahawks. What a weapon he has become, and they couldn't get him into the game in the last 2. He did not have an attempt over the last 2 games against the Raiders and San Diego. Both losses to the Seattle Seahawks.
Well, the one last week against the Raiders was kind of a shock to me because even though they haven't been able to run the ball, you know, talking about Seattle's offense, I've always thought that they had an offense that could go ahead and score. You know, last year they tried to go with that run and shoot, and after they scrapped it somewhere along the middle portion of the season, their offense played very, very well. And I just think that, you know, Seattle is an offense that they're a couple players away from being a scary good offense. And one of the reasons is David Craig. He's a very smart guy. He doesn't make a lot of bad things happen. He just goes out there and makes a lot of plus plays occur for his team.
Dr. Pepper, 10-minute ticker. The Dolphins finally get on the board at Soldier Field. What was your feeling going into that game between your former team, the Chicago Bears, and the Miami Dolphins, Dan?
I just think weather's going to be a big factor in that game. Talking to some people in Chicago this morning, it's wind chill way below 0. They're going to expect 3 inches of snow to fall by game time. So, you know, you just got to think that, you know, the bear in his natural habitat is just going to be too much for Miami, who has problem enough playing on the road when it's, you know, weather that they feel good in.
Casey gets into it. Gaston Green back with Derek Russell. Will Green bring it out of the end zone? No, he'll stay right there, and Elway in the offense with 33 seconds left in the half. We'll have it at their own 20. Don't forget they still have 3 timeouts left. But it's been a struggle for John Elway. Only 5 of 9, a total of 45 yards.
And you can credit that to that front 4 of Seattle. They have really come off the ball well. In particular, Rufus Porter. We haven't heard Cortez Kennedy's name mentioned much. We heard Jacob Green when he turned the corner one time. But Rufus Porter is the guy that likes this type of a situation when it's a must-pass. We'll have to watch him closely. They've got him doubled.
Elway has all day. And has Derek Russell. He needs to find the sideline, and he does get out of bounds. He's short of the first down by a yard, but wanted to stop the clock, save the timeouts. 23 seconds left. You saw those 2 turnovers for John Elway, the 2 interceptions. He came into the game with only 5 picks all year long over the first 11 weeks of the season. Those 5, the 4th lowest total in the NFL. So you can see how he's struggling.
Well, last year, Denver's problem was turnovers, and this year they're +5, so they've really done a great job of avoiding that. There he comes.
There's Porter. Elway scrambling for the first down to the sideline, firing it down for the wideout, and Teal makes the catch, but I believe he may have gone across the 29, the line of scrimmage. The flag is down. Revisited last Sunday.
Deja vu.
It was called immediately by the referee.
And I think it's a good call because, you know, a guy like Elway, he'll get out and he'll try to make something happen, and he's always trying to attack that line of scrimmage. If he doesn't have something he can throw at.
Illegal forward pass, number 7 on the offense. 5 yards, loss of down, 3rd down.
So the line of scrimmage was the 29, don't forget.
The ruling is any portion of your body cross the line of scrimmage, then they're going to call that.
And Chiefs fans, of course, right now are saying, where was it last week when we needed it?
Oh, boy. That's one thing that I think is universal across the league this year is a lot of coaches have problems with the officiating, but there it was correct.
3rd and 5, flag into the air, and a dead ball foul coming up against the offense. Procedure call against Elway and the Broncos, and that sums up their whole 30 minutes of offense in the first half.
Well, they're lethargic.
False start, number 67 on the offense. Prior to the snap, it's still 3rd down.
They called it on the right guard, Doug Waddell, in his 3rd year from Boston College.
Well, Waddell here working on Porter. Porter's faking the blitz in there. Then you'll see him just kind of rock back, number 67 there to the right of the center. When this crowd starts getting up and getting excited and being more vocal, those offensive linemen are going to have a worse and worse time hearing Elway's snap count. Third and 10. Elway scrambling.
Can he run for the first down? His time is running out in the first half. He's got it, but there's only 7 seconds left in the first 30 minutes of play.
Well, Seattle's defensive front has played just sterling here this first half, but the thing is they've been out here an awful lot. And those guys are walking around with their hands on their hips. So you know they're starting to get a little winded, because the hardest thing in the game of football is to rush the passer some 40, 50 times a game. And, you know, when I played for Buddy Ryan, he made sure that we worked so hard on conditioning each and every week, because you never knew when you'd have to rush the passer 50 times. And it's very taxing. And they look tired already at the end of the first half.
Trips to the same side for John Elway. He's rolling that way. Final play, it should be in the first half. And Michael Young making the catch, but he's out of bounds. That stops the clock with a second left. And now you've got to remember that John Elway's got the tendonitis in his throwing shoulder. Do you even want to waste a 60-yard pass downfield at this point of the game and try to get the tip drill going?
Well, Elway looks like he's just walking around with his hands on his hips saying, hey, let's just get this thing over with. Get in the locker room. We'll make some adjustments. We'll see what we can do to attack this defense, because anything they've tried in the first half has just flat not worked. And
now the ultimate compliment from the opposing fans. The chant of Elway in the background.
Looks like Jeff Bryant jumped. Cannot end the half on a penalty, so they'll have to line it up and do it again.
False start, number 67, offense. Prior to the snap, it's still second down.
Waddell's got a bad case of happy feet.
1 second back on the game clock.
You'll see him here working. You'll see him go ahead and put that foot out there, taking away that outside rush on Jacob. And, you know, this week they worked with some earplugs, Joe, the offensive linemen, because they wanted to try to help themselves hear the snap count, maybe keep some of this noise out. I tell you what, the only thing that will help in this situation is scoring points and taking the crowd out.
Steve Sewell on the final play of the first half. It was a sluggish start for both offenses in the first 15 minutes of play, but Seattle picked it up in the second quarter. And now, at halftime, the Seahawks trying to raise their record to 6-6. They're in a must-win situation. They are leading the Broncos by 13. We'll be right back with the Domino Pizza NFL Live halftime report. Chris Warren back along with Derek Lavelle. It'll be Lavelle this time. Flag down from the referee. And Lavelle refuses to go down. But a couple of flags on the plays. Lavelle is finally put to the turf at the 31-yard line.
Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler bring you this NFL Game of the Month.
Earned by the second-year man from the University of Oregon, Derek Lavelle, but let's find out all about it. The flags that are down on the play, and also an injured Denver Bronco on the kick coverage team. Well, at the start of play today, an 8-3 record for the Denver Broncos. That in jeopardy, of course, right now, trailing by 13. The LA Raiders, they hammered the Cincinnati Bengals, who played without Boomer Esiason today. They are now at 8-4. A Denver loss. It's all even in the AFC West, and the Raiders on top, actually, because they swept the Denver Broncos this year. Kansas City dropping their second straight, so now it's 7-5.
Illegal block in the back, number 30 of the receiving team on the run back. We also have a 5-yard face mask on the kicking team. The penalties will offset, and the ball will be set down at the spot of the kicking team's foul. First down.
So no mark-off, just from the point of the infraction is where the Seahawks will start with the ball, as Shannon Sharp was the injured Bronco. You can see he's making it back to the bench on his own. And it'll be first down to the 21-yard line. You can see how many problems the Seahawks had early, because they started their own 3, their own 2, back at the 5. Finally, they got field position at the 29 and a touchdown drive. Now they've got it at the 21, first down. Jones and Williams starting the second half of the backfield. Darnell Williams. Bit of indecision. Kroll in on the stop, 2 yards on the carry. Holmes also helping on that tackle. And let's see if the offense in the second half for the Denver Broncos can start taking some of the pressure off the defensive unit, because the defensive unit was making some big plays early in the first half. They just started to break down the longer they were on the field.
Well, Seattle had a couple of kind of a freak accident there with that John L. Williams bend back all the way across the field, getting them down where they could go ahead and score the touchdown. So they really have played well with just a couple of bad breaks here and there. Otherwise, they'd be about 6-0.
John L. Williams bouncing to the outside for big yardage and a first down for the Seahawks. Out to the 32-yard line.
John L. able to get off that off-tackle seam here. You'll see the right guard, Millard, pull out there and seal back inside on the linebacker, springing John L. to go ahead and run to the outside portion there. The thing is, he's a power back. Now, he's not going to be able to go out there and then turn it upfield. He's got to hit that seam right off tackle because he doesn't have all the quickness in the world, but he's big and strong, and he can run through a lot of safeties and corners if you can just spring him out there.
42 of those 68 yards on that bend back play that Dan was just talking about for John L. Williams compared to the 11 for 31 for Gaston Green, the featured back, of course, for the Denver Broncos. Wasn't featured all that much in the second quarter. Pressure. Mike Kroll has him, knocks the ball away. It's picked up by the lineman Holmes. He's on his way. Make it Powers. Touchdown Denver. Warren Powers, 91. So the defense comes through with the first points of the day for the Denver Broncos, and they take advantage of a turnover. But Kroll got the big play started.
That's unbelievable. You know, we sat here and talked about how Denver's offense has been so stagnant. Their defense needs to make something happen. Well, here comes someone that can make it happen in a heartbeat. Kroll just tracking Craig down, stripping the ball. Instant touchdown. Now, when you got a defense that has the kind of speed Denver's does, you're going to see a lot of plays like that. And the funny thing is, you know, I think David Craig is just one fumble away from the NFL record of all time, Joel.
Warren Powers hobbling. He usually doesn't have to run that many yards, Dan, to the extra point for David Treadwell. And very quickly at the Kingdome, a minute and 52 seconds gone by in the second half. And right back in at the Denver Broncos by way of a big play from the defense, trailing now by 6. So a total of 7 turnovers between the two teams as Treadwell gets ready to kick it away to Lavelle and Chris Warren. Warren, number 42, one of the best return men in the AFC this year. A very high and short one by Treadwell. And it looked like McNeil when it almost fell for a fair catch. The tight end bobbles it, and Kenny Walker gets him. Well, a flag will go down because it looked like he did signal for a fair catch and then attempted to run the ball. That's the reserve tight end, Travis McNeil, in his 3rd year from Tennessee Chattanooga. Then he muffed it, though. Remember that. Stan Kempley, referee in the white hat.
I wonder if they could bring out some coffee or tea or something for those guys while they have this nice little discussion, Joel.
Donuts available. Should we send them down?
Let's send something out there.
Invalid fair catch signal on the receiving team. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Well, at the end of the touchdown run by Warren Powers, the offensive lineman tried to get him right about the 2-yard line, and he turned his ankle, it looked, on the final part of the play.
It does look like he's limping there. You'll see here Millard, who usually makes the tackle when they lose the ball, causes, you saw his right ankle pop there. Looks like it kind of stretched it. They looked at it over on the sideline while we're out of commercial, and you'll see looks like he may have strained a ligament. That's what happens when you get a guy out of his element. He doesn't know how to run with the ball, Joel.
Lovell turning the corner. Looked like he was going to be taken down in the backfield. Nice move to get the outside for just about 4 yards. Out to the 23-yard line.
Well, I think Seattle needs to go back to what they wanted to do early on in the game, and that is to go ahead and pound away and try to establish that ground game. Even though they got the lead, they still need to go ahead and try to work on that ground game.
Phoenix with a touchdown before halftime as we look at the Hurts 10-minute ticker. And Chicago still clinging to that 7-point lead, going up by 7 on a field goal by Kevin Butler. Now Craig out of the shotgun with 4 wide receivers. This is their empty formation. It didn't work last week, but it worked 2 weeks ago against the San Diego Chargers. Atwater backs it into the air.
Well, that's the problem with that empty formation, Joe. There's no way to protect the quarterback from a blitz.
And you remember what Wade Phillips told us yesterday. I'm surprised nobody's blitzed on that empty.
Well, that's the thing. You've got to make a quick decision here. Craig feels the blitz, tries to throw it over Atwater's head. He had a receiver side adjust. When those receivers see those safeties up there on the line going to blitz, they're taught just to go ahead and break it across the middle and on a quick little square in. There, Atwater able to deflect the ball.
Good call by the defensive coordinator, Wade Phillips. He's seen the empty formation over the last 2 games for the Seattle Seahawks. And he blitzed him that time. Now Robbins coming on the blitz. Does he get to Craig? Craig sidesteps. Has a man, and it's underthrown. He was looking for Brian Blades. Plenty of pressure, though, from Randy Robbins, the extra defensive back of the dime package.
Well, Robbins came off of the corner there, and that's one of the matchups David Craig told us yesterday he really likes. Kane on Robbins. Well, Robbins walks up, and then all of a sudden at the end, he blitzes here. You'll see that defensive end take the inside charge there, tying up those offensive linemen. Craig able to dodge Robbins and get out and try to throw the ball downfield. Just some nifty moves by Craig, avoided the sack.
Vance Johnson will wait for the punt from Rick Tootin.
Good punt.
Another high spiral. And the Broncos offense will get it for the first time in the second half. An outstanding field position when we come back at their own 30. Last Sunday against the Chiefs for Gaston Green, the former UCLA Bruin. He was not featured at all, though. Basically, you see those 11 rushes. Well, most of them came in the first quarter. They got away from what they do best with Green now, Dan, in the second quarter.
Well, he's the kind of back that you need to give it to him 20, 25 times a game because he will break a long run sooner or later because he has that great speed.
You'd have to think they want to get the ball back into the hands of number 28 again. Denver's only down by 6. It's Gaston Green trying to stretch the defense and knocking through the defensive back. That's Patrick Hunter, the corner. Good pursuit down the line.
Well, it was. I mean, Denver has the same sentiments we do. Hey, they need to go ahead and start running the ball. But the thing is, Seattle's defense has got some guys that can run on this turf. They're going to go out there and cut you down on that corner. A guy like Gaston Green, you've got to keep him in traffic. If you let him out on the open interstate, he'll fly. So you just got to keep a bunch of bodies around him, kind of corral him.
There's the defensive coordinator, Tom Catlin, of the Seahawks. And last week's game against the Raiders, when they were pounded early and gave up 24 points in the first half, that was the first time that there was a total collapse by the defensive unit. Otherwise, they have been a sound group this year. Elway on 2nd and 13. In trouble and hit from behind. Jim Scow, former Nebraska Cornhusker, making the stop. It is not a sack, though, as Elway just barely got across the line of scrimmage for a yard. And John Elway got clipped in the back of the heels, and it looks like he's hurting a little bit. Now he's grabbing the left side like he landed in a strange fashion.
Well, you know, those rib protectors there, they protect you from the helmet shots. A lot of times if you dive and you try to lay out, you hit that turf, man, those things hurt too. Oh, there it is. Landed on the ball, too.
3rd and a dozen. From the Denver 33,
offside.
Jacob Green jumping early, getting to Elway. But I got to believe it's going to be another snap for the Broncos offense.
Well, it looks like Jacob was definitely offsides. I don't think Lanier, the right tackle, pulled out. You'll see right here. I don't know. It looked like Lanier pulled away, but I think the ball may have been away at the same time. It looks like it is against Seattle. Starting to mark it off against the Seahawks defense.
Offsides, number 79 on the defense. Still 3rd down.
Jacob Green trying to pick up another sack. That is the 3rd mark-off against the Seahawks. 5 already against Denver, and Denver, one of the least penalized teams in the NFL. They get a break on that call against Seattle. 3rd down over. And now, 3rd and 7. Elway has Mark Jackson for the first down. It's out to the 49-yard line. And they need the big play this year. Elway usually looks for number 80, Mark Jackson. John has 8 passes of 40 yards or more. Now, that was a short one. But out of those 8 passes of 40 or better. 4 have gone to Jackson, the former Purdue Boilermaker, a 6th-round pick in '86.
Well, you know, Vance Johnson hasn't really been a factor this year, so Jackson has become the guy, the go-to guy when Elway needs him.
Green and Perriman in the backfield on 1st down from the 49. Gaston Green, nothing available. Couple of yards to the 49. Wanted to cut it back. Nothing there, though.
Well, that, like I said early on, this 4-man line, you've got to run the ball differently at him. Here you'll see Carts trying to help on Cortez Kennedy. They're trying to bend it back now. Jacob Green, number 79, doing a good job staying square, dancing down that line of scrimmage, closing those cutback lanes. That's what Gaston Green likes to do. He'll stretch you, and then he'll cut it back, and next thing you know, he's gone 50 yards.
Seconds and a long 8, close to 9. Elway on the short drop has Michael Young. The possession receiver, gets behind the linebackers and has a 1st down to the Seattle 30.
Well, Young lulled the Seahawks defensive backs asleep. They're running a burst out. You see Elway looking down the right side. The receiver is running a long, isolated pattern behind the linebackers, behind the corner, getting in behind the safety. You see him bending it out here and running away from the safety, Robinson. That's great execution, great throw.
Perfect placement on the pass by John Elway. Big number 90, Wooden, the linebacker, tried to get over. 1st down from the 30. Elway has Perriman wide open. Perriman has a 1st down and a lot more. Inside the 10. And did he step out of bounds? No. They give him a 1st and goal at the 6-yard line. All the flow in the opposite direction, Dan. Came back to the running back.
Well, Perriman's a guy that, you know, you think, hey, this guy's going to block all day. Well, you can be lulled asleep. He goes out, kind of feigns a block there on the outside linebacker, and then runs a wheel pattern. Here he'll take it and wheel up the field. And he's bringing some thigh pads when he comes to.
1st and goal from the 6. And, you know, I did think he stepped out of bounds, but there was no call. They may go to the instant replay official for a review to see if he was out of bounds just outside of the 10-yard line.
We'll take a look at it. Just
tough to tell. Tough to tell from that angle.
Reviewing to see if the runner stepped out of bounds before the spot the officials marked.
Well, it's hard to say. If he wears the size B width, he's in. Now, if he's a double E like I am, Joel, he's clearly out. So it's going to be a hard one for him. I don't see how they can change that. It looks like he's in.
Is that your basic inconclusive moonwalk?
That'll work.
Well-executed drive.
After further review, the play stands as called.
Yeah. I just couldn't see how you turn it over because I couldn't tell. And I got new contacts on.
Is that the difference? Why'd you wait till week 13 then?
Because I'm not an official. I don't need to see. I don't think they've got too good of a set of contacts in some of these calls I've seen this year, though.
1st and goal from the 6. Delay to Gaston Green. Horse collar down. Terry Wooden, the linebacker. A yard at the most to the 5 for Gaston Green.
Well, Terry Wooden's made a number of plays here on this drive, closing down from that outside linebacker position. On that delay, you're expecting those defensive linemen to be rushing the passer and creating a scene. Well, this defensive front is really doing a good job of staying square. They're not giving Gaston any type of a lane. Wooden able to just notch him from the outside when Gaston's trying to pick a hole.
2nd and goal outside the 5. Into the corner to Derek Russell. And it will bring up 3rd and goal.
Well, on that fade, Eugene Robinson was already rotating over there. Elway knew that wasn't a good decision by the time the ball was snapped. You can see Elway threw it in the position where maybe the receiver could make a super play and get it, but the defensive back would never.
Another field goal for Kevin Butler. Also Pat Leahy for the Jets. A 10-point lead for the Bears. Jets by 14 and a crucial 3rd and goal from the 5. 7:25 left in the 3rd. Time for Elway to scan the end zone. He's got a man in the back line and overshoots Jackson by a good margin. And Mark Jackson was wide open. It has been a long afternoon already for John Elway.
Well, his offensive line gave him great protection that time. He had the ball in his hands for almost 6 seconds. Now, that's unheard of. Harvey Salem doing a good job on Porter there. But Elway not able to find anyone open. There's 7 guys covering the receivers. I mean, you can't uncover. So he just throws the ball away.
Treadwell in for the field goal try. It'll be a 23-yard attempt. He's already missed from 47. He's perfect. And now it's only a 3-point margin. So the first drive of the day, or at least the second half of the Denver Broncos, produces 3 from Treadwell. 3-point difference. With us for a great matchup on Thanksgiving Day, the Steelers and the Cowboys, as Derek Lavelle brings it back. And he's across the 25, where he's wrapped up by Alton Montgomery to the 28-yard line. But don't forget, the Steelers won today. The Cowboys upset the Redskins, handing Washington their first loss of the year. So now Dallas at 7-5. Steelers slim playoff chances still alive at 5-7. And a visit with Tom Landry that should truly be entertaining with Will McDonough. Dan, look forward to it on Thursday, starting at 3:30 with NFL Live.
Well, I'm going to make sure I have one pumpkin pie before the interview and then one after it, because that will be something I don't want to miss. Tom Landry, obviously one of the all-time great coaches ever in this league.
People may think you're kidding, but you can handle a pie probably every 3 or 4 hours.
Easily.
John L. Williams.
What do you think it's called? Thanksgiving.
Across the 30 to the 33. So 5 on the carry. The former Florida Gator. And we look at the Hurts 10-minute ticker. The early scores, the finals already in. Kansas City losing their second straight. Now the Raiders already at 8-4. Denver trying to raise their mark to 9-3, stay a game up on the Raiders in the AFC Western Division, but they're trailing by 3 now with 6.5 minutes left in the third quarter. Broncos just got a 23-yard field goal from David Treadwell to draw within 3. Play action. Finds some time. Dave Craig has his tight end, Mike Tice, for a first down. He's across the 40 to the 42. And Mike Tice, very verbal after the loss to the LA Raiders. He says, everybody's got to take a long, hard look at themselves after this game and what we've got to accomplish over the final 5.
Well, I think that's what you have to have from some of the older guys on a team, is after you have a loss like that where everyone goes out and just kind of gets their head kicked in, you've got to have somebody say, hey, look, you know, we're professionals. We've got to be able to put this behind us, but more so, we've got to go ahead and try to make this season into something we can be proud of, rather than just getting killed all the time. Craig has a little play-action bootleg. Tice uncovering there. One of the things he said was, hey, last year when I put up my Christmas lights, things started turning around for us. Well, I think he put them up this week.
First down from the 42. Williams changing directions nicely. Wanted to go left, took it back to the middle. And he gets a little more than 3 to the 45-yard line. Cragen and Brooks in on the hit for Denver.
You know, that guy, number 71, Cragen, the nose guard, he's a guy that can make a lot of problems for offensive coordinators. You don't hear his name that much. He's a kind of a nondescript nose guard. He's not overly big, not overly strong, not overly fast, but all he does is go out there and makes great plays and causes teams to double team him. We haven't really heard his name much that day because Seattle has had to put 2 helmets on him almost every play.
Williams a single set. Gets it on 2nd and long. And Simon Fletcher bumps him outside. Great group of linebackers, Fletcher and Mecklenburg, also Brooks.
And now, of course, you know, with the drafting of Crow, all that does is let Simon Fletcher go ahead and gain a little bit more notoriety, because he's not going to be the guy doubled all the time. There you saw him just keeping leverage, just running Williams out. And like we talked about, Williams isn't the kind of guy that you can think will turn that corner on some of these fast linebackers. He's better off running off tackle.
So now 3rd down and 6. The ball at the 46. Inside give. John L. Williams a huge hole up the middle into Denver territory. Takes it all the way to the Broncos 40.
Well, the left side of the Seahawk line did a good job selling the pass. Able to draw those Denver linemen off field and then create the seam for John L. to slip through there. Looks like Smith is down. You'll see the left guard working against Kenny Walker, just turns him out, freeing Williams up the middle.
Timeout with an injured Bronco on the field. John L. Williams now with 92 yards for Seattle. Yards already after picking up an average of only 29 over the last 2 games. Derek Lavelle with a convoy of blockers. Darts through the hole. Inside the 35 to the 32. He gets 8.
Is confidence, Joel. And we talked to the Seahawks. They said, well, their confidence is at an all-time low. They're just stretching people. Lavelle just able to go ahead and find a seam and rip it up inside there. You know, passing the ball is technique. You got to be good technicians to pass block. It's good technique throwing the ball, good technique. But running the ball is confidence. Just knowing you can come off and knock the heck out of people and create seams.
13-10 lead for the Seahawks as they continue to drive in Denver territory. Lavelle again. Trying the middle after starting outside. Gets it down a yard short of the first down marker to the 31. So it'll bring up 3rd and a yard.
But still, that ground game has given them a chance to be in 3rd and short rather than 3rd and long, which we saw the Seahawks in so much the last couple of weeks.
Don't forget, big day, Turkey Day, Thanksgiving matchup, Pittsburgh and Dallas. But then on Sunday, another great NFL Sunday, week number 14 on NBC. It all starts with NFL Live at 12:30 Eastern. And the early matchup, the Jets in Buffalo, late Kansas City, Seattle, New England, and Denver. It all comes your way next Sunday on NBC. Short by just about a yard.
You know, a lot of people are looking at Denver and saying they got a relatively easy schedule. I'll tell you what, I'm very impressed with the way New England has come back this year, Joel. So that game next week is a given.
And we've been talking about the ground game all afternoon long. Our Xerox Sports Facts, who is the all-time Seahawks leader in rushing attempts, yards, and touchdowns. We talk about the New England Patriots, and we'll come back with the answer in just a couple of minutes. I thought it was fun when we were talking with Tommy Kane yesterday. He said, what was it like playing for Coach Mack at Syracuse? He said, is this guy a package? Could he fire you up before a game? Ronnie Lee's in the backfield now on 3rd and less than a yard with Derek Fenner. What a blocking back. Fenner over the top. He's right up the marker.
Greg Cragen stopped that play because he submarined underneath the center and got into the backfield and tackled the ball carrier before he could jump. We just talked about this guy. I mean, here he goes and makes another great play on 3rd and short for Denver.
Shades of the fridge, but Ronnie Lee didn't get the ball.
Well, you saw Ronnie Lee trying to lead it through the hole. There, Cragen, number 71, you saw him. He submarined between the center and right guard, able to go ahead and tackle the back before he can jump. Now, that's the kind of play this guy makes just, I mean, all the time. He makes an extraordinary play seem ordinary in a sense because he's always got his motor going at about 100 miles an hour.
Well, Dan Reeves is not happy with the spot, but I believe they are short. Yes, they're short of the first down.
Well, you know, coaches talk about having confidence in the running game. I can't imagine Chuck Knox not trying to go ahead and knock this ball. I mean, go ahead and pound in there and try to get the first down.
Well, originally John Casey and the place-kicking unit started to run onto the field, and then all of a sudden, they got the hook. The hook came out from the coaching staff, and they will go for it on 4th and less than a foot.
Well, I just think Chuck's saying, hey, this is our season right now. We make this first down, we can go ahead and control this game. If we don't make it, we're just saying, hey, we're giving it up.
Lee stays in the backfield in front of Fenner.
Denver's calling timeout.
So the Broncos use the first of 3. See if that hurts them down the stretch. They've got 2 left in the second half. It's a 40-second timeout. No doubt what they want to do. Derek Fenner in the backfield. But they had to call a timeout, actually. Only 10 men on the field for the Denver Broncos in that last sequence. Just saw that. Xerox Sports Facts. All-time Seahawk leader. Attempts, yards, and touchdowns. Boy, that's a difficult question our guys came up with.
What about Reggie McKenzie?
I saw...
Big Reds. I don't think he ever touched the ball, did he?
Kurt Warner looking good on those car commercials I've seen all weekend long in the Seattle area.
Hey, Steve.
Had a great career.
Well, I don't know what kind of car he's trying to sell, but he was a Cadillac.
There's Reggie.
Yeah, that was one of the guys that made it all happen for him, too. One of the great offensive guards of all time.
4th and inches. Benner. I believe he's short. I believe they stopped him. Great penetration by the defensive front of the Denver Broncos.
And look who's there, number 77, Carl Mecklenburg, at the bottom of the pile. Craig has got his hands up. I tell you what, Denver has been able to play so well on short yardage this year. I don't think I've ever seen a defense play any better on short yardage. Now, you'll see those defensive linemen just getting upfield, grabbing grabs. There's Craig, no, that's Mecklenburg, attacking, getting underneath there and grabbing the legs.
Talking about going low, he looked like a groundhog on that play.
And we're not even close to February. But the thing is, I just don't think I've ever seen a linebacker during the course of 1 year play any better short yardage than Carl Mecklenburg. I was talking with Wade Phillips, the defensive coordinator for Denver. I said, have you ever seen anybody play any better short yardage defense as a linebacker? He said, I don't think I've ever heard of anyone, let alone watch someone each and every week.
And unfortunately, Keith Traylor, the rookie, Central State in Oklahoma, injured on the last play.
Well, Traylor's one of those guys. I mean, he's a linebacker. He's about 260 pounds. But they bring him in and they put him inside like a defensive lineman on short yardage.
Wade Phillips so high on Keith Traylor. He said, I wish we could get him in there, but what am I going to do? Take Brooks and Mecklenburg out?
Hey, he's so big as a linebacker, they had to get him out of the way and move him so they could measure for the first down.
There was no doubt about the measure because they had to get the ball inside the 30-yard line. So the Denver defense stands tall.
Hey, I just got to think that I never got to see Dick Butkus, and I'm sure he was one of the all-time greats at short yardage. But I promise you, I have never seen anyone dominate in short yardage on defense like this guy has this year.
Carl Mecklenburg making the sensational play down low for the Broncos, who get it back outside their own 30. And Elway with a quick one for Derek Russell. And the former Razorback across the 39, short of the first down by 1.5 yards.
Well, Dan Reeves said, hey, I like this kid, Russell. We haven't used him that much in the past, but I talked with him this week. I said, look, we're going to use you an awful lot more than we have in the weeks past. And the thing is, he's big and he's fast and he's smart and he wants to be a part of this offense. I mean, he's got a burning desire to be a starter, to be a guy that gets 60, 70 balls a year or so. You know, I think we're only going to see a lot more out of this kid.
Second, a little more than a yard. Shannon sharp in motion. Perriman, the first one through for the first down. When we talked to Dan Reeves about Derek Russell tagging that one, they really love what he does after he catches the ball. And Derek Russell is the cousin of Atlantic Hawks guard Sidney Moncrief. He looks like he's got some of those moves that Moncrief uses in the NBA. He is a great receiver after he makes the reception.
And we talked about how big he is. I mean, those cornerbacks, you know, they like a little guy where they can walk up there and bang on him. But a big guy like him, you just get off of him. You're not going to do anything if you get up there and try to hit him at the line of scrimmage.
First down from the 43. Gaston Green up the middle. He bursts for 9.
Well, we talked about how Knox said, hey, look, I want to rest my defense and keep him off the field. Well, he's got some different guys in there. Scow's playing the right end on this one. He gets upfield a little bit. Cortez raises up, lets him get a little movement, gets him out of the middle. Green able to pop it through there for about 8 yards. Those guys on the front four for Seattle, the guys that make it happen, are starting to get wore down just a little bit. And Denver's starting to create some cracks.
And the Broncos will wait for their next play for the start of the fourth quarter. So a tight one as we expected. The Kingdome in Seattle at the end of 3. It's a 3-point game. Be back after these messages from your local station. Broncos need a win to stay a game up on Los Angeles in the AFC Western Division. Welcome back to the Kingdome in Seattle. Joel Myers, Dan Hampton, and the ground game starting to make a dent. And the defensive front 7 of the Seattle Seahawks.
Well, they've been very patient, and they're just going ahead and giving the ball to those backs and saying, hey, it's your game, make it happen.
Perriman for the first down to the Seahawks 45-yard line.
You know, when Seattle went for it on 4th and short a few minutes ago and didn't make it, you had to feel the big swing of momentum go over to the Denver sideline. And we talked about that confidence. Well, it looks like Denver's offense is a lot more confident now, operating in what they wanted, you know, in this fourth quarter, knocking those guys off the line of scrimmage, creating seams. You know, if you can't make it on 4th and short, I mean, your defense is going to go out there with their hands tied behind their back.
It's been a struggle all day for John Elway in the passing department, but his team is only down by 3. Gaston Green weaving his way for only a yard to the 44. The numbers through 3, and I thought Holyfield and Cooper ended last night. Jeff Bryant in the middle of the melee. Yards on the ground, 82 so far through 3. 130 for Ground Chuck. John L. Williams, the featured back today. And the turnovers, the story so far, 7 between the two teams, and the only touchdown of the day for the Denver Broncos came from the defensive unit. And a big down lineman, Warren Bowers. Penalty going against the Denver Broncos.
Well, no matter, you know, what Elway does, I think Denver's success from here on out will depend on how well their defense plays. You know, Elway can't do it all himself.
Unnecessary roughness. Number 67 on the offense. 15-yard penalty. 2nd down.
Serious blow to the Denver offensive hopes. 15 yards against Waddell, who was cited for about 2 or 3 flags for procedure in the first half.
Well, he's working against number 77, Jeff Bryant, and Jeff has not been, you know, that big a factor, but maybe, you know, he's going to become a bigger factor here because he seemed to have gotten under the skin of Waddell.
Well, now it's 2nd and 24. Elway 10 of 17 in the passing department. Here comes Porter. They dump off the screen to Green. Tries to elude the lineman, and Joe Nash has him. So many years in the 3-4, Nash the nose tackle. He was without a job a couple of years ago when they went to the 4-3, but he has added depth to this team.
Well, he has. Now we're getting to see him play a little bit more. Scowl was playing out at right in. Like we talked earlier, they got some older guys, and they need to keep these guys rotated to keep them fresh. Here, Elway called the script of the little slip screen. Get a little pressure, and you think, hey, we got these defensive linemen on my left. This back's going to make some yardage. But look, Big Joe Nash out there making a play.
3rd and long. Pressure on Elway. He eludes it. On the run, he's got Vance Johnson. Well short of the first down, but still a difference when you consider they've got him pump the ball away, and now they can pin Seattle back deep in their own territory. Another great scramble again, though, by an incredible athlete.
Like I said, if they're going to get it done, they're going to help her on defense, but Elway is like a one-man offense at times. Here, great pressure. They brought a corner blitz there. He still was able to get out of the pocket and get rid of the ball for a completion. Unbelievable.
With all the turnovers, not many opportunities for Mike Horan to punt the ball today. He sends a wobbler to Chris Warren, calling for the fair catch. Warren's got it at the 15-yard line. So on the return, Seattle's got the ball back, and they cling to a 3-point lead. Win situation if they're to keep their playoff hopes alive, coming into the game with a 5-6 record. The big difference this year for the Denver Broncos, last year they couldn't buy a close win. This year, in games decided by 8 or less, an 8-2 mark on their way to an 8-3 record coming into today's matchup. Seattle by 3, first out of their own 15. Derek Lavelle spinning away from a tackle, a flag on the play, normally where you see a hold. And jumping up and applauding the flag, Ron Holmes. He's the one who felt like he was held.
Well, it looked like Andy Heck will be called for the hold, working against Holmes. Andy, the big left tackle. On that play there, Mecklenburg walked up at the line of scrimmage, tried to swim inside. Well, what that does is create a big hole there. The right end knows he's got the help inside. If he doesn't make the play, usually he's been held.
Called on 66. That's Andy Heck, the left tackle. First round pick back in '89 out of Notre Dame. So Stan Kent's microphone malfunctioning. 12:05 left in the fourth. Now inside the 10 at the 7. It's 1st and 20. Check that. They'll call it 1st and 17 from the point of the infraction. Williams trying to change directions. Nothing doing on that one. Can't do the ground game. The ground game's the reason they're in it.
Well, Denver's defensive lineman did a good job staying square. They figure, hey, they know that, you know, Denver's the defensive coordinator realizes that they're in a big hole. It's not a must-pass situation. They're probably Seattle's offense will probably try to just get some yardage back. Defensive lineman stayed square. Soche in there on the nose did a good job staying square, stopping the play before it even developed.
Broncos getting their substitutions on late on this 2nd and long, 2nd and 17.
Outside.
John L. Williams. Flags on the play. And it appears to be a free down. Looks like the Broncos may have jumped offside.
Well, there's no question, 92, the left hand Carricker in the neutral zone when the ball was snapped. You'll see number 77, Mecklenburg, lined up behind Carricker. Carricker doing a good job staying square once the ball was snapped, but he was a little early.
On the defense, 5 yards, still 2nd down.
Well, that's what you want your defensive lineman to do. When you're trying to play the run, you want to stay square. You just more or less dance along the line of scrimmage wherever that offensive lineman tries to take you. Then you can go outside or inside to help make the play.
And this is only the 2nd start in a year and a half for Alfonso Carricker, working his way back from knee injury and then lower back problem.
Well, I guess his ears still work because that hard count got him.
Under 11 minutes left. Call it 2nd and 13. Pressure on Craig. Dumps it off in time to Williams. Open field tackle. Yes, and what a play by the defensive back. That's Tyrone Braxton. Big play in the open field on John L. Williams. Let's go to New York now and an update with Bob Costas.
Joel, coming into today's game against the Chargers, Blair Thomas, the former Penn State star and one-time #1 pick of the Jets, had 1 career rushing touchdown in the league. This is his 2nd today. He scored from the 1 in the 1st quarter. He bolts 22 yards in the 4th. Jets cruising 24-3 on the Chargers.
Thank you, Bob. And a 3-point lead for the Seahawks with exactly 10 minutes left in the 4th. But now they're facing a 3rd and long. 3rd and a dozen. The ball at the 13. Craig buys some time. Gets some blocks. Unbelievable production for David Craig. Still has nowhere to go. And finally, Simon Fletcher has him. Great coverage in the secondary of the Denver Broncos.
Now, I cannot believe that. Usually, if a quarterback can get 5, 6, 7 seconds, someone will uncover. Not to be done today, but against this Denver defense. Fletcher turning the corner here, gets drove by. Craig says, well, sure, throw it. Let me run now. Still can't find anyone. Fletcher just trying to get him. Now it's just like chasing a dog down. Guys are circling. They can't get him down. Now here, Craig might be well advised to go ahead and try to throw the ball on a long pass to the out of bounds area on the right side.
Shooting punch from his own goal line. Vance Johnson waiting back at the 40. Calling for the fair catch. And takes it in near the 44-yard line. So again, exceptional field position for Elway in the offense when they get it back with 8:46 remaining. 13-10 score right here in Seattle with the Seahawks out on top. And as bad as things have looked for the Seahawks over the last couple of weeks, don't forget that Chuck Knox has been able to get his team back together in time for the stretch run before. 86, they won their last 5 to finish at 10-6. In 88, they took 3 of 4 to win the division. And last year, they did not make the playoffs with a 9-7 mark, but they did win 5 of their last 6. And including today's game, 4 of the last 5 right here at the Kingdome. Here's the play that Caston Green scored a 60-yard touchdown run on last week. This time, he gets a little more than 3 yards on first down.
Well, what he likes to do is more or less start at one side and then bend it back. And if they can get some kind of a seam in that defensive front, a lot of times he can hit that seam so fast that he'll run away from a linebacker. With the great speed, maybe a corner or someone in the secondary that has great speed can catch him. Not no linebacker. There, they did a good job squeezing it down.
2nd and 6. Kennedy chases Elway out of the pocket. Elway getting out of bounds. Losing yardage in the process to the 46. He loses 2.
Cortez Kennedy was quite a sight trying to track down John Elway, wasn't he, Dan?
Like a dump truck rolling down a hill with no brakes. You know, Cortez splits the seam there. Hey, that was just a foul up at the offensive line. Kerr, the left guard, turned out. The center played straight. I mean, Cortez just hit the seam. No one was there to block him. Now he looks like he's got to go over the sidelines and get some more gas.
All that front four, the offensive line, first-round draft picks, Green, Bryant, Kennedy, and Tony Woods, who came out fit as a linebacker, but a down lineman now. 3rd and long for Elway, in trouble. I can't believe he got away from that one. A flag on the play. Elway finds the sideline.
That has got to be holding on the right tackle. Jacob Green had a sack dead to the world. Looks like Lanier just raked him down on the ground.
Elway's gassed. He's had to scramble the last 2 plays.
Well, if you had those 300-pound guys chasing you, Joel, you're going to run like a rabbit, too.
But if Elway's out of breath, how do you think Green and some of those big ones, the loads, feel?
They're over there. It looks like Jacob's about to suck the paint off the field at the 40-yard line. I mean, he's just heaving.
Jacob was down. He was bending over. He was trying to find any available oxygen.
He's over there. He's trying to talk to the official. He's probably going, ha, ha, ha. I know what it feels like, folks. It's no fun after you had the quarterback break contain a couple times. You had to track him down. I'm pretty sure it's on the right tackle, 76, Lanier.
Number 76 on the offense. Holding number 34 on the defense.
Is the referee confused? So, hey, wait a minute, Stan, we're over here. Stan, please, we're over here.
Hey,
it's not a confusing situation, though.
Yeah. No, these guys, now you talk about something inconclusive. Now you'll see 76 at the middle of your screen. They're working on Jacob. Jacob will turn that corner. Well, we didn't get to see it all the way, but believe me, it was a hold. I was watching it the entire time.
3rd and 8.
Nash is fine.
Elway has it stripped away. It's picked up by the lineman. No, now it's loose and it is picked up. But he cannot advance it. It'll go back outside of the 45. He picked up the ball near the 47. They're spotting it, though, down at the 42. And it will be enough for a first down. So he was eligible to advance that fumble.
Now, I don't know how this can be. You see Porter strip the ball. Now, that's obviously a fumble. Now, an offensive lineman or anyone else, an offensive lineman cannot advance it. Now, I don't know what they're watching, 72.
And look at Elway and the offense getting to the line in a hurry so they don't review the play.
Offensive line cannot advance.
The delay, Gaston Green weaving his way to the 38. A strange sequence. He picked up the ball to the 47, short of the first down by a couple of yards, Dan. But they let the play stand.
Well, we're being told now by the replay booth that an offensive lineman can advance a fumble as long as it is not on 4th down. That was 3rd down.
All right. There's the clarification on the last call.
Another good call by the officials.
2nd and 7. Green again. Wrapped up in a hurry. Inside the 36. And that clarification we got came from the instant replay booth. So we went to the source because we were all a bit befuddled by the advancement with the offensive lineman. Keith Karch picking up the ball.
Well, I'm a lot befuddled. Not a bit.
3rd and 5. Had a huge break on the last third down. Out of the shotgun, Elway. Wanted to call his own number of the shuttle pitch. Nothing works, but Elway still gets inside the 35. He's down to the 34. He's short of the first down by a little more than 2 yards and basically out of the range of David Treadwell. So now a decision for Dan Reeves with only 4:55 left and the clock moving. They trail by 3, 13-10.
Well, Reeves is calling a timeout. He's going to
They
talk
don't
it
have a
over.
choice, do they? They've got to go for
Well,
it, Dan.
I just think you have to. Even if you fail, you still leave yourself in reasonably good field position. You may, if the Seattle's able to get a couple of drives, a couple of first downs, they could burn the clock completely. So Reese wants to talk it over. I think they've got to go for it here. It's 4th and 2. That shouldn't be anything for John Elway.
They're always close at the Kingdome between these two AFC Western Division rivals, and that's the way it is this afternoon. How would you like to try to convert a 4th down with this crowd working against you? 4th and a little more than 2 for Elway, and the Broncos down by 3.
Watch Elway trying to run it. There he goes.
Can he get there? I don't believe so. No, he's short. The Seahawks take over as their defense comes up big.
This is the play Elway likes. On short yardage, he'll be the man. Well, it wasn't to be there because the safeties walked up in the hole looking for it. They've used this an awful lot the last couple of weeks. Sooner or later, defenses catch on.
This is the season as far as the Seahawks are concerned. They need a win to stay in the playoff hunt. They need to raise their record to 6-6. Now, can the offense hang on to the ball and keep it away from Denver's offensive unit? John L. Williams, being thrown up the middle, across the 40, out to the 41. Clock rolls with 4.5 minutes left. And don't forget, Denver used a timeout very early in the first half, so they've only got 2 remaining. Seattle, only 1 remaining. They just used that last one. That's right, Denver has only 1 remaining. Seattle, though, still with a full complement of 3 timeouts.
Now you'll see that the Denver defense attacked the ball on this drive. Anytime those backs come through the hole, anytime the receiver catches the ball, the first guy there will try to get his hands on it and keep him up. The next guys come in like Piranha and try to strip it. That's our only chance.
Second, a little more than 2. John L. Williams with 99 yards on the ground today, the most by a Seahawk running back this year. Doesn't get the first down. Stopped completely by the Denver defensive front 7. So still 3rd and 2.
Seattle's staying to a vanilla play. They're just going to go ahead and try to be man-on-man blocking, have that back hit up in there. Brooks, the middle linebacker on the right side, did a good job just coming up, taking on the guard, making the play. They're not going to do anything fancy. The last thing they want is to have the ball hit the ground and Denver get it easy.
Extra defensive backs coming in. They go to the dime. They also bring in the extra down lineman, Kenny Walker. So Denver banking on Seattle throwing the ball, Dan. 3-point game, a little more than 3 minutes left. And a 3rd and a little bit better than 2. Craig from the shotgun, looking in Blade's direction. Pocket collapses. It's almost intercepted. It is by Michael Brooks. Brooks has it. Takes it back to the Seahawks 45-yard line.
There, Craig got into a situation where he should have known better than to make something bad happen. He could have went ahead and let the punter punt it away, but there he gets a little rattled. He throws it into coverage. Brooks making his 2nd interception. Last week he got the ball. This week he gets his 2nd of the year. There, like we talked earlier in the game, after you've held the ball for a little while, don't throw it inside those numbers. They was right on the numbers, but that's where all those guys are congregated. Poor decision.
2nd interception in the career of Michael Brooks, and they come on consecutive Sundays. 1st and 10 at a 45. Elway looking for the screen. Green breaking tackles, and Como slams him down inside the 45 to the 42, or else that's a big play, Dan.
Well, it looks like he got out of bounds, but the clock's still running here. Como did a good job reading the play, floating out there and making the tackle. David Craig very unhappy with his decision. You can see him over on the sidelines. Brooks cannot believe it. It gets to us.
2nd and 7 at the 42 of Seattle. Elway has the pocket hold up perfectly. He's got all day. Looking for Jackson in the end zone. Drive at the goal line.
but he took a heck of a shot. I mean, Robinson wrecked him. You can see him holding his wrist here. Now, hey, look at this offensive line protect John Elway. Early on, he was running for his life. Now, when the game's on the line, they're getting it done, protecting him.
Is there a tip by Blackman? Did Blackman possibly deflect it a little bit?
It looks like he possibly did. It hit his wrist, and, you know, it's hard to say from here, but, I mean, that was an amazing shot by Robinson. He did deflect it, there's no doubt.
And then Robinson
Blackman
cleans up.
Blackman and letting Jackson get behind him. And that would have been, I mean, you talk about just letting the air out of a stadium. But he deflected it enough to cause Jackson to drop, and then Jackson paid for his dose of medicine.
And let's not forget now, as Mark Jackson gets some assistance, it is still 3rd and 7. The Denver Broncos only have 1 timeout left. They don't pick up a first down. It's over with only 1 timeout remaining. 2 minutes, 2 seconds left. The Broncos down by 3. They've got to pick up at least a first down to have a field goal attempt for David Treadwell to tie it. And don't forget, coming up tonight on NBC, a double dose of the Torkelsons in its new night. And then the season premiere of a brand new show, Hot Country Nights, followed by World Premiere Movie Deception, Another Secret. It's all tonight on NBC. 3rd and 7 from the 42. Elway. And Vance Johnson makes the catch, but a flag is down. It came in the area where Shannon Sharp was battling with Jefferson, the defensive back, and now are they calling a hold?
Well, some of the Denver players on the sideline can't believe it. They're screaming at the officials. It has to be called against Denver here. No, it looks like Elway's saying it's not.
It's a holding call against Denver. The head linesman made the call from the near side. Mark Baltz is the head linesman. And he was a good 20 to 30 yards away from the play.
Well, it's possibly on Salford Kerr, the left guard, working against Kennedy. Now, if he was holding, he had to get both hands on
holding. Number 74, offense. The penalty is declined. That'll bring up 4th down.
Harvey Salem.
The 2-minute warning.
Harvey Salem working on Porter. You'll see 74 at the left of your screen, getting fanned out there. We can't see exactly where the hold is.
We have reached the 2-minute warning. Minute 57 left, and 4th down coming up. Dan.
Well, you see him just raking down Rufus Porter on the corner.
This is it. 4th and 7. Elway gets out of the pocket. Fires for Young. Incomplete. Young thought he was coming over his back. Doesn't get the flag, and Seattle takes over on downs. They lead by 3. Elway had ideas about running again.
Well, Elway is the guy that makes it go on offense, and he hadn't had the game that he wanted to have, but he had a chance there on that last play. They run the dash. That's where the back comes up, seals that outside rush man, and then the quarterback gets outside and waits and sees if anybody uncovers. Elway throws it into the dirt.
It would have been enough for the first down. Now Seattle gets it back, and Denver has only 1 timeout left. And they don't have the end of the 2-minute warning to stop the clock either, with a minute 51 remaining. John L. Williams. Ball security of the utmost. He gets 7 on the carry to the midfield stripe. And Denver uses their last timeout. They're right back to the Kingdom with a minute 44 remaining. Ground chuck back in force because John L. Williams went over the century mark. 106 yards on 16 rushes. He is the winner of the We Try Harder Award. Avis, the official car rental company of the NFL.
Well, there's no doubt that John L. has been the guy the offense is built around today. He's gotten it done. But I just think Rufus Porter has played super on defense. He's made a lot of great plays for the Seahawks over there.
2nd and 3. Not much of a mystery who's going to get it. And Williams has the first down, and that'll do it. That'll do it. All Craig has to do now is take a couple of snaps and knee down. And the Seahawks are still in the thick of things in the AFC playoff picture. Now let's take a look at today's Canon Camcorder replay of the game and the difference in the game if Mark Jackson can hang on to it.
Well, Jackson was able to get deep, and at the very end here, you'll see a little bit of a deflection there. Just that close, and then Robinson, even if he had caught the ball, it would have been hard to see him hang on to that thing because he took a helmet in the sternum.
Clock rolls under a minute left. So the Seahawks in a must-win situation come through. They get the ground game finally going after two dismal performances on the ground against Los Angeles and San Diego, but the defense sparked everything today.
Well, they did, and I just think that this has got to be a great confidence boost for Seattle. The last couple of weeks, you know, they've been kicked around like a hound dog, and they just looked like they needed something to get them going. Well, their defense came out strong early in this game, made some big plays, got their offense off where they could go ahead and score. And I just think the confidence level has got to be a lot higher now, obviously, from this win. But they're going to make a big push because Chuck Knox always has his team in position by the end of the season.
And 3 of the last 4 at home for the Seattle Seahawks. Don't forget now with this loss, the LA Raiders move into a tie with the Denver Broncos for the lead in the West, and they've got the tie-breaking edge because they have already swept Dan Reeves and his squad this year. For Dan Hampton, I'm Joel Myers. Thank you for joining us. Let's go to Chicago now, and Dick Enberg and Bill Walsh.
Old Soldier Field in Chicago. We welcome those of you who have been watching Seattle and Denver. We're in the final seconds here at Soldier Field, a tie game. The Bears trying to drive into field goal range. Harbaugh hit from behind and throws it away. Neil Anderson was close enough.
Amazingly, Miami's getting there with a 3-man rush and then possibly a linebacker who's reading his back if he blocks 2 rushes, but they're getting some heat on Harbaugh. And this defense will hold up if they can do that. 3 men rushing, getting heat on a quarterback.
Wind chill factor here in Chicago right about 0 now. The temperature in the mid-20s dropping to 15 tonight. 33 seconds left. The Bears have 1 timeout remaining. They've led throughout until a bad snap on a fumble punt gave Miami the ball at the Bears 4. Miami has just scored to tie it up at 13. That's Anderson trying to get out of bounds. He doesn't at the 41 of Miami. And the Bears have to hurry. 21 seconds. They have 1 timeout left. Harbaugh probably just ground this one. Yes. That stops the clock 14 seconds. They need to get the ball, I would think, Bill, even with the wind at their back, to about the 30 to give Butler a reasonable chance at a field goal.
That would be a tough kick, even to 30. That's 47-yard field goal. I'd say the 25-ish would give him a chance.
And they have the Bears probably 2 plays in which to do it.
The wind is not a major factor right this second. It seems to have died down substantially. So if he can get the ball, if he can kick that ball anywhere from 42 to 44-yard field goal, they've got an excellent chance.
4 wide receivers. They are broken up and almost intercepted by Magruder. Good timing by Scooter Magruder as they had the receiver on this side double team.
Now there's playing the ball in the air. Now watch Magruder going up for that ball.
Wendell Davis drawing double coverage.
Boy, in this position, the zone defenders have to be ready to fly to the ball when it's in the air.
9 seconds to go here, Bill. So if the Bears complete a pass, those receivers have to call time immediately.
And the receiver cannot run laterally with the ball. It'll run the clock out.
Harbaugh to Waddle. Who else at the 32? And there's the timeout call with 4 seconds. So Waddle gives Butler and the Bears a chance. It'll be a long try, about 49 yards.
Well, this would be a marvelous kick if he could make it in these weather conditions.
The Bears at this stage coming into this week's play with a second-best record in the NFC since they are 10-2. New Orleans 10-2, but they beat New Orleans. And this would be both at 9-2. This would be for 10-2. And for Butler, a 50-yard attempt. That would match his longest. There is a win from his back.
Miami cannot be offside. Now, that would be disastrous if they were to move and give him 5 extra yards.
This for the game. High enough, not long enough. It falls in the end. zone, and we go to overtime.
Well, we knew he needed to get about to the 25. He was 5 yards short. Just couldn't quite get it done in these weather conditions.
And the fact that he isn't 100%.
And that ball goes heavy through the snow. I mean, you're not going to get near the distance.
So Butler, very prominent in the course of this game. He kicked one from 32 at the end of the first half, a short one from 19 in the third quarter. That gave the Bears a 13-3 lead, and then missed on a 24-yard field goal in the fourth quarter when the snap on a short chance was dropped by Harbaugh, who was spotting it. And now a 50-yard hope, but while it's straight, lands short. And you see, trying to keep loose, he stayed with that jacket and trousers on as long as he could to try to keep warm. And now the coin toss to see who gets possession first in the overtime. Miami.
You know, by the way, if Butler has a problem with that leg, McMichael is the extra field goal guy, and we watched him. Everybody was cheering. He made about a 15 or 20-yarder in practice, but boy, would Butler be missed.
We'll return to Soldier Field after these words from your local station. Our 10-minute ticker. New England surprising Buffalo, and Pittsburgh getting ready for Dallas on Thanksgiving Day with a must-win against the Oilers. Giants are now 7-5. The Lions win their 8th of the year. Packers' 3rd victory.
That's as big a victory Pittsburgh's had in a long time.
Seattle's still in the playoff picture, as are the Jets and Philadelphia. From the 35, Marino. Higgs for 4 yards. Higgs replacing Sammy Smith, who fumbled again today inside the 5-yard line. We go to New York.
Dick, here's a look not seen on the game telecast earlier. It's from our affiliate in Tampa, WFLA. The injury to Jeff Hostetler, driven into the turf by the Buccaneer linebacker Broderick Thomas. Here's the word: injury to his lower back, fractured transverse process, no neurological damage. Phil Simms finished the game, quarterbacked them to victory, and obviously Simms will start next week and probably beyond. Dick?
All right, Bob, it's Marino gunning to the sidelines, complete to Clayton. Well, they were in tune that time. It's been dysrhythmic much of this game, but on that occasion, Marino and Clayton on target and a first down just shy of midfield.
Again, pressure on Marino, and the ball was thrown late, and that could have been disastrous because Marino had to hold it and move and then throw that out pattern, and that's very, very scary, but he got away with it with that arm. This field position is so important at this point. At the 50-yard line, Miami has a distinct advantage.
Higgs, the little guy from Kentucky, is to the Bears' 48-yard line, maybe the 47. Pete Stoyanovich, he has long range. In fact, has kicked one, well, remember in the playoffs, beat Kansas City last year with a 58-yarder. Has kicked a 59-yard field goal, but not in these conditions going in the direction Miami is going, into the wind from the north-northwest.
Well, you'd have to give Stoyanovich the edge over Butler in this situation. Butler with a hip problem, Stoyanovich with the real strong, deep leg. Now, this field position is really a factor now, because if they do have to punt, Chicago's going to be bottled up.
2nd and 6. Good protection for Marino. Now it breaks down, and Perry, the refrigerator, with Dent assisting on the sack.
Well, that was a smart move by Marino. He wasn't about to unload that ball and get into trouble. Again, they've got field position. They don't want to lose it. So now Marino is going to protect that ball, go up inside, not going to take any chances.
For the Bears, this is their 2nd overtime game this year. Remember that incredible Monday night win against the Jets, when it seemed the Jets had won 2 different times, and Chicago escaped and eventually pulled out a dramatic victory. Shotgun on 3rd and 7. Over the middle, complete to Clayton, and he has a first down at the 36-yard line. And what a passing team that is, Marino and Clayton.
A beautiful pass inside, easy to catch, and Richard Dent had a chance at Dan Marino. On the outside, you'll see him really have a chance, and just couldn't quite get there.
We were asking Clayton and Marino about their very first game as you see him connect again, and Dent a little late on that hit, but not vicious enough to draw a flag. At the 36, first down. 11:57 left in overtime. Marino going deep. And both Clayton and the man covering him, Wolford. That ball, a flag is down at the 6-yard line, and a miracle play as Clayton entangled with the defender, a 30-yard play. Interference is the call against Wolford. Well,
I guess so.
He was trying to stop, and he...
pass interference, number 21. The pass was complete. Penalty declined.
But the fact that Clayton caught the ball, he goes down.
Is he on his back when he catches it?
Look at the concentration, a man on him, and he still catches that ball. Amazing.
Amazing. What a catch. What concentration.
And Marino, who has not been all that happy with Mark Clayton's routes during the course of the game, cheers that one. It's first and goal outside the 5.
That's as big a catch as Miami's had in years. Just get the ball in the middle of the field. There it is.
There it
21.
is. Marino just moves between the hash marks, and the call is in for number 10, Pete Stoyanovich. They've already dialed his number, and now for a field goal try that could win it for Miami. Remember, the Jets had that opportunity in that overtime game against Chicago and misfired. Pat Leahy could not connect. Stoyanovich today has been successful from 35 and from 22 yards.
What a victory if they can get it over a big name, big winning team, because all they've been able to do all year is beat the weaker teams. This could do it.
27 yards for victory. Miami wins 16-13. Don Shula's 305th career victory. He looks for his counterpart, Mike Ditka. Ditka undoubtedly not in the mood to shake too many hands as he let one get away. His Bears had it 13-3 late in the third quarter, but Miami taking advantage of a bad snap on a punt. And then a miracle catch by Clayton. Stoyanovich, no doubt about it, right down midway. First victory by the Miami Dolphins over a winning team this year, and 61-year-old Don Shula, rarely that emotional. A win he needed to give his team hope of a playoff.
In a cold weather season, a cold weather year.
Ditka with a wave saying, hey, that was a heck of a win for the Dolphins, who figured to have everything against them in freezing weather, and a team that had only beaten New England twice, Indianapolis twice, and Green Bay, 5 teams that are far from winning records. This is the victory that Shula had been talking about. We need to beat a quality team. They do it on the road in icy conditions, and our camcorder play of the game, the replay shows Stoyanovich. He had it all away, not much more than an extra point. Well, for the